Hey guys, welcome back. If you have made it that far and you are actually joining this video today, it means that you're really passionate about microblading and you really want to learn more about it. So stick with me for the next few hours because I'm gonna go step by step about microblading procedure, what you need to know in order to be able to perform microblading on your customers and actually to learn the skill. So I've been reading my emails the past few days and I've seen that you guys had a lot of questions, said, okay, I'm all in. I want to learn more about microblading. What's the next step? So in this webinar, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you step by step what you're learning during microblading and what it takes you in order to be able to actually perform the procedure and be able to get certified and get the customers. And stick with us because at the end I'm gonna have like step by step exactly a live demo how to actually perform microblading in your customers. So either if you're new in the industry and if you're curious how a microblading procedure actually look like, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you how I actually perform microblading. So let's start with what you actually need to know in order to be able to perform microblading. Number one, you need to get certified, and we already talked about it in the previous webinar. So if you didn't join the first webinar, make sure that you're gonna go ahead, and I'm not sure if the recordings are available, but you could email us at support@warmmicroblading.com and we will try our best to make sure that you understood the first step, what it takes in order to pursue a career in microblading, because there is no point to watch this webinar and go ahead and know actually how to build and learn a skill unless you actually figure out the first part, which is very important. So again, if you haven't watched the first webinar, please go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna basically today I'm gonna show you in real time how it looks during the class and what we are actually doing during the class and what our students are doing during the class. And I've got a lot of questions as well. What's the difference between a 3-day class and a 5-day class and a private training and online training? So I actually wanted to come and talk about microblading trainings and show you like step by step how it takes. So let's start with the most comprehensive program, which is the 5-day class. In the 5-day class, you guys are learning how to actually build your skill from scratch. You're learning from A to Z. So there is no experience necessary. Either you're a novice or if you are already in the beauty industry, we're gonna make sure that you're gonna learn from A to Z everything that you need in order to become a successful microblading practitioner. So again, your experience is not necessary. Another big question that I got is if you need to be cosmetologist or to be a licensed practitioner or aesthetician. Now, most of the states don't regulate that, but you want to make sure that you check with your local health department in order to be able to perform microblading in your customers. Usually it's required a tattoo body art practitioner license, which is a very pretty easy paperwork form. So make sure that you double check with them and make sure that you're complying with the local health department. By example, I am based on California in Los Angeles, and it's a pretty easy paperwork form. So you don't need to be a esthetician, you don't need to be cosmetician, you don't need to be a licensed I don't know, you just need to have a body tattoo art practitioner license and bloodborne pathogen. So you're gonna see that during the class we're gonna learn of those steps. We're gonna learn about liability forms. We're gonna learn everything about consultation with a customer. We're gonna learn how to set up our area proper, and we're gonna learn how to be compliant with the health department. We're gonna learn about skin types. We're gonna learn about Fitzpatrick, color theory. We're gonna be hands-on with you guys. You're gonna learn the difference between a 3-day and a 5-day. You're gonna learn about advanced skills in a 5-day class. You're gonna learn about soft shading method. You're gonna learn about saline removal. You're gonna learn about any other additional services that you could provide to your customers and to increase your revenue, because once your customer is over there, it might have an old tattoo, so it will make sense to do a correction rather than a microblading or a removal prior to the microblading procedure. So we're gonna learn those advanced techniques as well. We're gonna learn how to correct the imperfections. We're gonna learn about the symmetry. Another question that I got a lot, it was like, I can't draw eyebrows, would I be able to attend this training? You're gonna see very soon that we are learning the shaping process step by step. And if you have watched the webinar before, you saw over there that everything is using measurement rulers and everything is like mathematic and it's like There are proportions everywhere, so you don't need to have any talent to draw. Fun fact, I can't even draw a Christmas tree like most of you know, but I can draw eyebrows because I made it so logical that you guys can't fail. And when we're gonna go to the hairstyle patterns, you're gonna see that it's very easy to achieve them, and you're gonna see the right twist on your hands. I'm gonna do a demo over there, and then we're gonna move ahead and understand the tools that we are using during the procedure and what do you need in order to perform microblading. We're gonna also learn about the color theory, what kind of pigment we will use in our customer, what kind of skin type your customer has, and how you would mix the colors in order to achieve a very natural color. Let's say that you made a mistake, you're gonna be able to fix your own mistake, which is awesome. I don't know any other academy teaching you how to fix a mistake right on the spot and how to remove that color under the skin if it is fresh. So we're gonna learn all those things. We're gonna start first, we're gonna walk during the class, and you're gonna learn the realistic expectations of the microblading procedure and what you will actually achieve through consultation. You're gonna see how you actually shape the entire like how do you map the face and how do you actually shape and speak with the customer and explain the realistic expectations. And then we're gonna go through setting up the room correctly and bringing everything that we need before we start the procedure. And then you're gonna see from A to Z the entire microblading process, step by step. Basically you're gonna get to shadow me performing in a live model, starting with a consultation to the end of the procedure, following the aftercare process, explaining the aftercare process, the healing process. So you're gonna be, basically you're getting for free what people are coming and traveling to our classes and actually going ahead and seeing how it's performed microblading in live models. You're gonna see different hairstyle placement. You're gonna manage the customer through the treatment. So you're gonna get to see everything real time, what is happening in our classes, how we get to choose the pigments in the customer, the reaction of your customer first time when they look in the mirror. So actually I am very excited about this part because you're gonna understand right now step by step what's happening during the class. So if you guys have any questions, please make sure that I'm not gonna be able, while I'm working on live models, to answer your question in a real time because I want to be focused on my customer. But please make sure that you're commenting all your questions, and I'm gonna make sure in the next webinar I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna answer the most frequent questions that I'm getting during the webinar today. So stick with us and make sure that you pay attention. Grab a glass of wine and a popcorn and just distract yourself, because if you're here today, you're awesome. It means that you're really passionate about microblading and want to understand more, and maybe you're not sure yet if this is the career for you and you want to see what it takes to work in the live models. Stick with me because I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna show you step by step the real life of a microblading technician and what's happening in the treatment room, and you will see if the customers are bleeding or not. You're gonna have all the questions answered till the end of this webinar. So please block about 2.5 hours from your time because we are about to start soon. And again, comment below any questions you have and I will come back later and I'm gonna make sure that I'm answering as much as I can. Thank you everybody for coming. Basically, as I know that many of you are newbies in this room, and for the people that are watching this online, most of you that you consider to have a career in microblading, you are completely newbie. So this course is designed to start from the scratch, to teach you everything about microblading. Either you had a previous experience in permanent makeup, you have to understand that this is not the same thing, it's completely a totally different skill set. If you have a background in the beauty industry, it will help you, maybe, because you're gonna be able to understand the skin structure, the undertones, but that's pretty much all. So if you have a background in doing permanent makeup, that's not gonna really help you at all. So I really want you to pay attention because in the next few hours, I will try to make sure that I will answer all the questions that you have about microblading, and let's start to talk about it. What is basically microblading? It's a form of tattoo, but compared with the old type of tattoos and permanent makeup that you ever heard about it, it's performed by a hand method. Is it a permanent procedure? by the regulation, because we don't want to give any guarantee to our customers that it will completely fade away. Because, by example, I've performed microblading since 2013 and I've never seen a completely faded away case after several years. It could fade away up to 90%, 95%, 98%, but as long as we are inserting the pigment under the dermis, we can never guarantee if that pigment will fade away or not. It's based on every individual body, how they heal, about aftercare as a long term, and is related as well with how the skin reacts, if the customer has any chronic diseases, if the customer gets diabetes, if the customer gets pregnant during this procedure. So we're gonna learn later on today that there are many factors that they will affect the color retention or the result as a long time run. Normally, why we want to call it semi-permanent, we don't want customers to think that they will take it forever. It's a one-time procedure and that's it. So in order to maintain an optimal result, we want to have the customer come back for a touch-up yearly at the top 18 months in order to be able to hold the same shape and to be able to still see the result and just wake up in the morning and go outside beautiful. So basically, prior you guys start the procedure, she already had a consultation, she already signed the agreement. Right now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna set up my table work, and I'm gonna show you guys how to do it according with the health and safety regulation, and how to protect yourself and how to protect your customer. Make sure that everything is wrapped with disposable volume. Make sure that you do not have any surfaces that you could contaminate with blood. So if you could see that we do have carpet on the floor, but we cover it. For you, however, when you want to work for yourself, you want to have a surface that it could be washable rather than a carpet, but that will be optimum. I took here literally every single thing that I needed for the procedure, and I'm going to start with the alcohol pads because I will need to remove the makeup around the eyebrow. Then I'm going to have the measurement ruler, and then I'm going to have the drawing pencil, and then I'm going to have the corrector sticks that I'm going to use them with the cotton pads in order to correct my mistakes. Then I'm going to have Q-tips, and then I'm going to have cotton pads. And then I'm going to start with the step number 1, as we've seen in the video prior. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move with step number 2. I'm going to use today a hard blade, 14. And then for the next step, I'm going to use the shading tool. And over here, I'm going to have the face mask. I'm going to have the first layer of anesthetic, bye-bye pain, that you should leave it for 30 to 35 minutes. Due to the time, we're not going to leave it for 30 to 35 minutes today, but you should for your customers. I move very fast, so she's not going to feel really discomfort, but you guys really want to go ahead and give them the right time. Then I'm going to use the pain relief, that we're going to use it as a topical anesthetic in stage number 2. You're going to see that it's going to work literally like in 2-3 minutes. She's going to be really numb and she's not going to feel anything anymore. And then I'm going to use the line of art, the one that we talked earlier about it. And then I'm going to advise her for the aftercare, and I'm going to give her the aftercare product, and she's going to be good to go after we apply the barrier mask. Welcome back, guys. Now we're going to talk about step number 2 and how to fill in the existing strokes from the step number 1. And I'm going to talk about different types of the blades and what they can achieve them and what's the difference between the blades. They are in the market blades anywhere starting with 5 pins and finishing with 24, 25 pins. I will always advise you to go ahead and try a blade in between. My favorite ones are the 14 ones. They are either flexible or they are either hard blades. I personally love hard blades. At the end of the day, you have to understand that the result basically it should be the same. Either you're performing with the 7-pin blades, or if you're performing with 12-pin blades, or even if it's a 20-pin blades. I personally tried all of them, been there, done that, and I find out that 14 was the best that it worked for me, and the best that it worked for our previous students. Like, we have trained over 1,000 people in 2017, and we have tried several types of blades for them. At the very beginning, we tried with 7, with 9, with 12, with 14, with 16, and we kind of figure out that the majority love the 14 blades, either straight, the hard ones, or the curved ones. So today I'm going to talk about those two, and then I'm going to show you as well the U blades, 18 U size blades. There are many artists that they love them. Personally, I don't love them and I don't use them. They are much harder to use by a newbie. They can create a very nice crispy strokes. However, I wouldn't really advise them for the newbies. For the newbies, I would really go with a 14. So it depends if you are a hard hand or if you're a soft hand. I will go with either 14 hard or either 14 curved. And then it's gonna come the difference between the skin types. Whenever you have an oily or a thick skin type, you definitely wanna go with a hard blade because you're gonna deposit more pigment from the hard blade rather than soft blade. You're gonna see that the major difference is that if you're using a harder blade, you're gonna deposit more pigment basically, and you're gonna work away faster. But however, you could really damage the skin way easier if you are unexperienced and you apply too much pressure. So if you feel that you're a bit too harsh in your hand and too hard, you definitely want to go for flexible blade rather than a hard blade. And also, if you have an extremely sensitive skin type or very soft skin type, or let's say somebody suffer of chemotherapy or thyroid or diabetes, or they are very sensitive, you definitely want to go for a flexible blade rather than a hard blade. Or also during the procedure, if you see that the customer bleed too much, a part of the condition that we already spoke earlier, you might consider that you would want to try a softer blade rather than a hard blade. I usually use the hard blade because I know how to adapt my pressure based on a different skin depth and skin types. However, if you feel that it's too much for you, you could always go ahead and use the soft blade. So now I'm gonna basically open the boxes and I'm gonna show you the difference in between them. They both can be used for the filling process. It's just a matter of your preference. Again, when you get your disposables, please look for the lot number, expire and manufacturing lot, and make sure that each individual blade, it has the lot, the manufacturer and the expiration date. The blade looks like this. This is a flexible curved 14 size. So this is the flexible one. And now I'm gonna show you the difference between the hard and the flexible one. Those are my absolutely favorite blades ever. Again, lot number, they look like this. So basically, if I'm having those blades one next to each other, you're gonna see that the difference is that basically the flexible one, I'm gonna open them in a while, but I just wanted to show you to the package. One, it has a plastic base, and one it has a metal base. So basically the curved one has a plastic base, the hard one has a metal base, okay? And then as a holder, we do have two types of holders. We're gonna have the hand tool holder, a single holder, and then we're gonna have the hand tool double holder. With double heads. Basically, what's the difference between them? At the end of the day, both are holders, but the first holder compared with the second holder, you're gonna see that the second holder have two grips. So in case that you decide to work with two different blades, or you are not sure which blades you would want to use, I will strongly advise you to go with a double head blade. So in this way, you don't actually need to take off the needle to kind of avoid even putting you in the danger that you will be able to hurt yourself with the previous needle. Or if you're choosing to use shading needles in the other head, you could always do that as well, okay? So how I'm gonna use this? Obviously, when you use it with your customers, you need to have your gloves on, but right now I'm not practicing rather than in latex, so I don't need to have my gloves on. So I'll just open it to show you how to actually insert the blade. Again, the two blades, the difference between flexible and non-flexible blade. This is the flexible blade. And this is the hard blade. This is the hand tool holder, single grip. And this is the hand tool holder, double grip. And I'm gonna use a flexible blade in one holder, and I'm gonna use the hard blade in the other holder, regardless that in the other one I can use two, but I just don't want to stick it in and stick it out to kind of like get myself in the position that I can hurt myself. Always remember to have gloves on when you're doing this with your customer. How are you going to position correct your blades? You're going to see that here it's going to be a cross. Stick the blade half inside, 90 degrees angle, and then please bend it at 45 degrees, holding it with your finger, and start twisting to your right hand side. You're gonna know that the blade is correctly inserted when you're trying to move it actually and it doesn't move anymore. Once you're done with this step number 2, you either autoclave this part, but I wouldn't really advise you to do that because it's a hassle. You need to have a special autoclave. You need to pack it according with the health and regulation from your local health department. You need to put the lot number. You need to mark the days. I'll really advise you. They are so inexpensive that rather than you taking out the needle, which is regardless unusable, you actually put yourself in the danger to kind of hurt yourself with the needle. I will really advise you to just dispose it in the sharp container and just move on to the next customer. Health department loves that. Your customer will love that you basically open the tools in front of them. And I'm gonna go ahead and gonna insert the flexible blade in the grip. I'm gonna use the other grip. This is for shading. Same, it's a cross in the middle. So you want to stick it in the middle, about half of the size. Bend it 45 degrees. And then twist it as much as you can inside. I'm going to start to talk about the color theory. It's another very important aspect when you're considering to do microblading, and without a good color theory, you're not going to actually be able to achieve a very good result. As a student in War Microblading, we do offer a lifetime support. So if you're coming on our group and you're posting picture with your customer 48 hours prior to the procedure, we will be able to help you to achieve a good result and to choose the right color from your customer. However, if you're not deciding to use our pigment brand, please make sure that whatever pigment brands that you're using, you have to make sure that the company itself offers you strong support in the color theory, because it's a learning process and you're not going to learn it in the next 5 minutes, and you're not going to learn it in the next 10 minutes, and you're going to not learn it in the next 5 hours or 5 days or 5 months. It's a continuously learning process, because you're going to see that microblading heals different from customer to customer. So in order to be able to offer a good quality service to our customer and to match the color of our customer, we'll need to understand the skin undertones, and we're gonna need to understand the Fitzpatrick scale. Basically, if you could just Google Fitzpatrick scale type, you're gonna see that we do know 6 levels on the Fitzpatrick scale. It's gonna be over here. We're gonna start with number 1, is gonna be ivory, and then we're gonna continue with the number 2, beige. And then we're going to continue with number 3, which is light brown. And then we're going to continue with number 4, which is medium brown. And then we're going to continue with number 5, which is dark brown. And then we're going to continue with number 6, which is a very dark brown. You should dream those things. You should wake up in the middle of the night and you should imagine your mother, your sister, your cousin, your brother, and you should be able to know what is their skin Fitzpatrick. Compared with the undertones, that there are 3 undertones we are all knowing, like cold undertone, warm undertone, and neutral undertone. Fitzpatrick scale have 6 tones, and all 6 levels can be either warm, cool, or neutral tones. And I'm gonna start with the Fitzpatrick scale and what is so important. Every individual color that we do have over here, brown 1, brown 2, brown 3, brown 4, and brown 5. If I'm going to the chapter where you're gonna see the color theory, you're gonna be able to see that, by example, brown 1 is gonna be good for Fitzpatrick 1 and 2. Brown 2 is gonna be good for Fitzpatrick 1 and 3, and then you're gonna have brown 3, we're gonna be good for Fitzpatrick 2 and 3. So you kind of need to know what kind of Fitzpatrick you have your customer to kind of make your life easier in order to be able to choose the right color for your customer. I'm gonna start to talk about the Fitzpatrick number 1. Fitzpatrick number 1 is characterized usually by redhead people or extremely white Caucasian skin type, usually like Northern Scandinavian skin type. They barely get any tan ever. They always get burned. They get rash and itchy skin. They kind of get red when they are exposed to the either sun or to the coolness. They should always use SPF 50 and they should avoid the sun contact because they risk skin cancer. Those are the lightest skin type, the ivory one. And then you're gonna meet the skin number 2, which is beige, and it's a mix between light blonde and if you expose yourself to the sun, you could slightly get a tan in case that you protect yourself. And with care, usually you will see that people with on the Fitzpatrick 2, they do have light eye color, like green color, blue color. They look great usually in light colors, but actually also they look good in colors like brown, like groundish colors, like black, like white. I'm a perfect example of Fitzpatrick 2, for example. And then we're gonna have the number 3, which they do have the olive skin type, and they just have a green turquoise eye color, or they have light brown color. Usually it's like Italian skin type, like East European skin type. They kind of get a nice Spanish, Hispanic, light Latino ladies. They kind of get a pretty nice tan, and they look great with warm colors usually. It's very unlikely that on this skin type you're gonna see a cool undertone, but sometimes it could be possible. And then you're gonna see the medium brown, which you want to say that is probably J-Lo color. You're gonna see that they do have a very nice tan. They have brown eyes. They do get a very nice touch from the sun. They do look very great with like goldish colors, but also they can be like, they can get cool undertones too. I'm gonna give you later some examples. And then you're gonna have light Indian skin type, Middle East skin type, Latino skin type. Moving forward to number 5, you're gonna see the mix between Afro-American and Europeans. Rihanna is gonna be a very good example of Fitzpatrick number 5. It could come in both tones, cool and warm undertone. And then you're gonna have the very dark skin type, which is Fitzpatrick 6. And you're gonna just have like Naomi Campbell and all the Afro-American, like really dark skin type, like Michelle Obama. That basically it will fall under the Fitzpatrick number 6. Fitzpatrick number 6 come with an extremely sensitive skin type, and unless you're really experienced, I wouldn't advise you to perform microblading on them because you could really scar them. It's very difficult to see the hair strokes, and it's really difficult to work on their skin because they are kind of bleeding a lot and they are very sensitive, but we're gonna get there as well. I want to start to talk about the undertones as well. We do have cool undertones, warm undertones, and neutral undertones. And we're going to have an exercise a little bit later that is going to kind of help you to understand the difference between the tones. So basically what cool undertones they are characterized by, they get burned in the sun. They usually come with light eye color, like greenish, bluish. They usually like Caucasian skin type, Norwegian skin type. They do have a lot of capillary veins around their skin type. You could see a lot of purple and a lot of pink in their stone. Unless they really wear makeup, they will be like pale. They're not gonna have that goldish flow. They will look amazing in purple, they will look amazing in pink, but they wouldn't look that great in yellow or goldish colors or brownish colors. Those are basically the features of cool undertone. So just to imagine yourself, when you look at a customer, just imagine themselves like putting a pink eyeshadow on their eyes, comparing it with a brown eyeshadow, what would fit them the most, and you'll kind of help understand you way more. So basically pale, light, blonde, pink undertones, it's a really good characteristic of cool undertone. Compared with the warm undertones, where they get very nice tan, they look amazing with glowing colors like gold, brown, they look amazing in red, they can they do have a lot of orange on their skin structure or yellow. You would see that they will always get that glow in their skin, no matter that they're wearing makeup or they're wearing a bronzer on their cheeks or not, they are still glowing, and you could see that their skin type have a lot of yellow. A part of the Asians, which they are basically warm undertones, but they have a lot of yellow in their structure, but in microblading they kind of feel very ashy. All skin types that they do have a lot of yellow on their structure, like Middle East, like Turkish, like Arabic skin type, Latino skin type, they are basically warm tones. Like J-Lo will be a very clear example of a warm undertone. But then it comes the undertone where maybe she can get tan, but she still look pale in the same time. She look good with a yellow gloss, she look good with a brown color gloss, but in the same time she look good with a pink gloss, and she look good in yellow, but she look good in pink as well. How would you kind of characterize those people? They have maybe pink in their stone, but also they do have an orange in their stone. And then it comes me, and I'm a neutral undertone. I can look good in black, I can look good in brown, I can look good in white, in neutral colors, but also if I put a pink lipstick, I will look fine, or if I put a red lipstick, I will look good too. So you kind of feel anywhere in between. If I expose myself to the sun without protection, I will get burned and I will be very red and pink. But if I do protect myself and I expose myself gradually, I could get a really nice tan. I still have a very light complexion and I do have very light eye color, but overall I'm a neutral undertone, so I kind of fit every single color, luckily me. But not every customer have those features, so it's very important for maybe your next 60 days just to go to the street and try to figure out every single individual based on the features that we just learned. Try to understand what's their undertone and what is their Fitzpatrick. Once you understood what is their undertone and what is their Fitzpatrick, you're completely done with the color theory. There is no more than that. You just need to achieve what is their undertone again and what is their Fitzpatrick, because the color theory come in such an easy version. So if I'm looking over here, I'm gonna have very simple, only 5 colors. I've been literally working the past 2 years in creating the new pigment line. We were teaching like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students, and the prior lines or any other pigment brands in the industry, they do come as a regular pigment, and then you need to pre-warm, you need to dilute, you need to mix the pigments in order to achieve the result that you want. They do have 20 colors. It's so difficult to understand the colors. They can have weird names like mocha, mochaccino, mocha, cocoa, cappuccino, that you always mix them between them. And when I realized that the color theory was actually the biggest complaint on our students, and it was so difficult for us, the trainers, to kind of make the students understand how to mix them 75%, 25%. I was literally working and working in the past 2 years to develop a pigment line that You don't need pre-warmers anymore, and you don't need diluters anymore, and you don't need to mix the colors anymore unless you really want to, and you could just go ahead and work in your customer with the colors straight from the bottle. That was actually like a dream came true. I didn't want it to come in the market with a new pigment line without actually testing and testing and testing. I wanted to know how they're gonna heal. I wanted to know how they're gonna look in 3 months. I wanted to know how they're gonna look in 6 months. I wanted to know how they look in 12 months. I wanted to know how they're gonna look on 18 months. So I wanted to basically know every single step, how it will look for you guys in order to help you, educate you in the proper way. That's why it took so long for me to come with a new formula, but finally I came. So the best part about those pigments is that they don't need to be pre-mixed. They are pre-warmed, and they are only 5 colors, so it's like really easy to understand and really easy to work with them. They do come in a creamy consistency. They do not dry out like the previous line. It was water based, so they kind of if you are not working fast enough, they kind of dry. But those ones, they do come like a creamy honey glycerin consistency. So you're gonna use very little pigment, and we're gonna see that they're not gonna dry, and they're gonna kind of let you finish the procedure prior they are drying. And they are so highly saturated that you will barely need a touch up. I will say they are about 200 times more concentrated than the other pigments. They do come wrapped individually. They do have a lot number. They have an expiration date. They do have a producing date. They are vegan free, and they are cruelty free. And I'm gonna start to introduce them to you. I'm so happy and so excited to show them to you guys. I'm gonna first test them on my skin type, which we already talked that I'm a Fitzpatrick 2, and then I'm gonna get someone else that is gonna be a Fitzpatrick 3 or 4 or 5, and I'm gonna show you how different they're gonna look from the skin type to a skin type, just based on the fact that I'm changing the Fitzpatrick. This is how the box looks like. So you're gonna see in the box what is included. They are designed in Norway. They come in 2 sizes, small size and large size. I'm gonna start with the brown number 1. It's an equivalent for light blondes. You're gonna use it in Fitzpatrick 1 to 2, usually neutral to cool undertones. If you always want to dark it up slightly, you could always add a drop of brown 5, but it's not actually necessary. And let's see how it will look on my skin type, so you'll actually understand. And then I'm gonna show you how it looks on a paper, so you'll understand better. So prior you want to use the pigment on your customer, you kind of want to mix it up. This is one of my favorite colors. And let's see how it's gonna look on my skin type. Bear in mind, once it's healed, it's gonna be 30 to 40% lighter. Actually, if I would consider to do my eyebrows, this color is slightly light for me. So it's gonna be for a person that it's lighter than I am, with probably 1 tone. And I'm gonna show you how different it's actually on the paper as well. You're probably gonna see that it actually looks already different from my skin type. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna move to the brown number 2. It's individual packed as well. It's a great color for Fitzpatrick 1 to 3, all color undertones. Every gray hair person that want to achieve a very natural result, I am actually a very good candidate for brown 2. Not too dark, not too light. It goes well for me, and probably a tone darker than me. You can't really fail with this color. So when you have a customer that is between Fitzpatrick 1 to 3, and you want to get like a neutral tone, not too ashy, not too warm, not too cool, so it's gonna be probably something similar to what I do have on my eyebrows, you just can't fail with this color. Any person over 60 years old that they do have white hair and they do desire a natural result, you can't fail with this color as well. Any women that want a natural result and they are in this spectrum, like either cold, warm, or neutral undertone, you can't just fail with this result. Like this color is to go. I kind of love every single color, so I'm like, we used to have like 12 colors before, and I was always saying like, oh, this is the most important color, and this is the most important color, and this is the most important color. But those ones that I really created right now, they are like an absolutely must, and basically they will, by just mixing them, they will kind of help you to serve the entire range of the colors that you could probably serve. So let's say you just want to have, you have a lady that she's light Latina, you could just add a drop of brown 5, which is the darkest color, and you could just darken up. So it's very, very easy to kind of even mix them and play with the shades. So you just have 5 base colors. So it's like it can be easier than this. Like, you have no idea how complicated it was for us to kind of teach the color theory prior. So I'm like so happy that we don't need to go ahead and do that anymore. This is gonna be brown too. I'm very sure that you already see the difference. It's a way darker and more neutral than the other color. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna move to brown number 3. It's an universal color that goes very well for Fitzpatrick 2 to 3. If I would go ahead and I will do my eyebrows with brown 3, it will be slightly dark for me, but it could be a really go if I really like a makeup effect. It's a universal brown for a light brunette or a dark brown skin type. You can use it for all undertones, and if you want to darken up, you just add a drop of 5 and you're gonna be pretty much all good. You want to mix up the welder color. Once you open your pigments, you want to make sure that you're storing them in a cool place, and you want to store them far from your child and far from them to reach it, and hold them away from the sun exposure. It's very important because they will just dry out. Let's see how they look on my skin type. So you kind of see that already start to look darker for me. I'm gonna have them in the paper as well, so you kind of see the difference. It's a universal brown, so it's like a really to-go color for any undertone, basically, as long as it's in the Fitzpatrick 2 to 3. So basically what I'm actually doing right now on my hand, you could easily do in the customer forehead in case that you don't decide which color you should go. So bear in mind that you could actually tell your customer that they're gonna be lighter than that, so the customer kind of understand that they're not gonna be so dark when they're gonna heal though. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go to brown 4. This is the bottle. It's another must color, of course. It's great for Latino, for any Middle East, for any Arabic skin type, for any brunette, for light Asian skin type or olive skin. You could always darken up again with brown 5. You just add a drop. It's an amazing color, and it's still into the warm side. Let's see how it looks on my skin. It's gonna be very dark for me, so you don't really want to use this color for me. But it's gonna be great for J-Lo. You wanna mix it well. And I'm gonna have it on the paper as well, so you kind of see how dark it is. And then we're gonna have the darkest color that we do use in microblading, and it's gonna be brown 5, and is great for Fitzpatrick 4 to 6, all the undertones. So then it's great for dark Asian, dark Indian, dark Middle East, Afro-American skin type. So it's gonna be either for Rihanna or for Oprah or for Michelle Obama and up. It's a brown black. It's pre-warm. However, you have to understand that darker the color it gets, cooler it gets. So you have to be prepared that whenever you're using a dark color, you're never gonna actually achieve a warm effect. So microblading always tend to heal ashy, especially when the color it gets darker. So this was the maximum pre-warm color that we could ever achieve in order to still hold the proportions right and avoid to have them heal either red or either blue or either purple or either green in one year. So I'm gonna have it over here. And then I'm gonna have it in the paper as well. You could see that it's a very dark brown, close to black, but it's still on the brown spectrum. So you could already see the difference only by having them on the paper and on the hand, how big difference it is. And we're gonna start with the Fitzpatrick at this point. I'm gonna tell you something about microblading in general and any form of tattoo, no matter that it's on your face or it's on your body. Tattoos tend to heal ashy, especially microblading. So we want to make sure that we understand the colorimetry prior we are actually starting to work on our customers, because whenever you see on the street that we do have the old failed tattoos like purple or red or pink or gray or green, they come for a reason. They come for the simple fact that either the pigments were too full of iron oxide or the pigments they were formulated wrong because they were formulated back in the time. They are not tested. The healing results were not tested, and mostly the artists didn't understand the skin undertones, and they didn't use the right warmers or the right soft warmers for them. That's why they heal those weird results. Our bodies as well, they kind of tend to heal different whenever we getting diseases as diabetic or as a thyroid. So then we might see issues as well with the color healing, but that's actually a very, very small factor in the colorimetry. It's pure theory, and it takes about exercising, and it kind of basically for the next 1 month what you should do, you should go ahead outside wherever you are, in a bus, in a park, in a restaurant, try to look at every single person in that place and try to understand what are her tones and why. Apart of the fact that you cannot go and ask her if she gets tan or not, more than likely you're gonna be able to figure out if they're a cool and warm undertone. That's the easiest exercise that you could actually practice in order to understand the tones. Once you understood the Fitzpatrick theory and you understood the tones, you're set with your color theory for life. Because if I'm getting the sheet with a pigment color on this side, let's see how difficult is the color theory. Brown 1. Medium brown color is perfect for Fitzpatrick 1, 2, neutral and cool undertone. If you want to darken up, add a drop of brown 5. So it's simple as hello. It says to you the undertone, and it says to you the Fitzpatrick. I literally couldn't find the easier way how to explain the color theory rather than, okay, this pigment is for this Fitzpatrick and this undertone. So it's pretty easy though. If you go ahead and look over here, brown 3, Fitzpatrick 2, 3, all color tones. When we're gonna play with the color, darker the color it gets, cooler the color it gets. It's very difficult to warm dark colors, so we will never actually even be able to have black as a color, even for Afro-Americans, because we cannot warm that color that much. So the darkest color that we could potentially pre-warm it was brown black, and you could guys go ahead and use it for the darkest even undertone. And now I'm gonna go ahead and gonna present you the color line. put them in a line from number 1 to number 5. And as we already spoke that each of us, we do have a different Fitzpatrick and a different tone, I want you to see that, by example, light brown in your skin type, it will look different than light brown on my skin type and light brown on her skin type. So basically, when you're in a doubt with a customer and you don't know what color to use, just get 3 colors on her forehead. It's very simple. You just see which one fits most her tone, and if you can't decide and if you like both of them, why don't you even consider mixing them? You could feel free to mix the colors however you want, however it's not necessary. So let's say you have a light lady that you would want to do the blonde, but you want to have a touch of a darkness, you could always add a darker color, so they are perfect to match each other. You guys could do that by yourself. Let's see. You want to mix well your pigments. And the quantity of the pigments that you need is very, very limited because they are very consistent. They are very, very, very pigmented. So you don't need a lot of pigment at all. They are not drying out. This is brown number 1. Would you use that color on you?
No.
It's a way too light, right? And bear in mind that the color, whenever it heals, it will be like 30% lighter. In the moment when I'm gonna put the right color for you on the skin, you will see it and you will say, I want that color. Brown 2. It's different, however, whenever we are putting it in the skin, when we are inserting in the skin rather than on the top of the skin. I just want you to see the difference. I like to mix them. I like to play with them because I never want to have the same color for 2 different people. So I love to mix them. However, it's not necessary. I haven't seen another brand that they come pre-warmed, so usually they will come like straight colors, so you need to pre-warm them. So you need to know 75% that color and 25% that color. So it kind of makes it so difficult. This is gonna be brown 3. This is one of my favorite colors ever.
It's pretty.
Well, all of them, they are like my favorite because imagine before there were like 12 colors. So from 12 colors, I had to cut it up to my absolutely favorite and must ones. So if you ask me what's the must color, I will be like all of them. Like it's one for every one Fitzpatrick basically. Of course it would fit her to go with brown 3 too, but I can see her makeup and I know she's not gonna want 3. I know she wants 4 even before she tells me what she wants. And then it's gonna be brown 4, which she's already in love with, I can see. And then we're gonna have brown 5, which is the darkest color that we are using for Indians, and we are using it for Latina dark or for Afro-Americans. You could see that it's a very, very dark brown. And now, if each of you gonna do this on your own hand, and you're gonna compare one to each other, you're gonna see that all those 5 colors, they will look different on your skin than in my skin, than in her skin, because they do have different colors. We already have here some. Please, could you please come here so we can make the comparison? So if you could have all the hands together and just look at each other. Can we have yours as well? You are Asians. Well, then I'm gonna talk about you. You're gonna see that the colors look different based, see? Even though they are the same colors, right? So try to play with your neighbor and see which color would you use it for yourself. Or ask your neighbor, what color would you do for my eyebrows? Oh, I think I'm gonna want that or that. Or maybe I want a mix from that and that. Here, actually, you're gonna see a big difference because you have a different skin type. So before I actually developed this technique, imagine I even, like over here, if you look on my skin, I have scars of actually tattooing and cutting my hands and inserting the pigment just to make sure that I know how those pigment will look like, you know. So I've done this like millions and millions of times before. So you see the difference? Which one would you use on me?
On you? I think on number 3.
I think I'm gonna go with 2. I think 3 is a bit dark for me because I don't wear makeup. I barely wear makeup. If I would wear makeup every day, I would go for 3. I love 3. But based on the fact that I do not wear makeup, I will go with 2. So basically what I have now on my eyebrows, it's a 2. What you have now on your eyebrows, it's a 4.
But it looks different.
it looks different because we have
It's
different
not
undertones.
I know.
skin.
Yeah, Asian people have a strong yellow tone as a background. That's why I did not wanted to talk about Asians yet, but I'm gonna talk right now. One of the best color retention skin type that you could ever possibly have, it's Asian skin type. They retain the color very beautiful, but you have to understand that you cannot go with a lighter color than brown 4 in the Asian. I know a lot of Asian like those kind of warm colors that they like, they will love brown 3. All of them, they will come to me and they're like, I want brown 3. However, they don't heal well because it's a warm, it's kind of a universal warm color. So you kind of want to go with a cool extreme in the Asian skin type. So you want to go with a 4 for you because you're a light Asian type. And you'll want to go for you with 4 as well because you're quite light. But if you find an Asian that is darker, like a Fitzpatrick 4-5, you want to go with brown 5. Does it make sense? That's why I left Asians at the very end, because I wanted to explain you that they should be treated a bit different than anyone else. Also, I want to talk about the people that they do have white hair. Go with universal brown, neutral color. You can't fail. You're gonna see that people with gray hair or white hair, sometimes they want you to do gray eyebrows or white eyebrows. I will never advise you to do that. We don't even manufacture that pigment because whenever it's gonna heal in 6 months and it's gonna age, it's gonna get grayer and grayer and grayer. And nobody actually really wants gray eyebrows. If they change their mind and they want to come back to blonde or brunette or whatever they were before they were changing their hair color, that's not gonna look good. So I will always advise you to go with neutral. Also, when you have a person that is blonde and she turned her hair to brunette and she's changing her hair color faster than her socks, go with neutral. You can't really fail with neutral. Whenever you build a relationship with your customer and you could see that the customer, okay, she's stable and she have the same color every time, you kind of could go darker. Let's say she's a blonde but she's always brunette. Then you could go darker because even though it's a blonde but she turned her hair in brunette, she still have a very light Fitzpatrick. So regardless her hair is black, if you're gonna go with brown 5 in a Fitzpatrick 1 and 2, it's gonna look horrible. It's gonna scream that it's so fake and you don't really want to put your hands over there. So when I do decide the color of the customer, number one thing that I look is the color of the eyebrow and the Fitzpatrick and the tone, and not the hair color. If I know that the customer is always dark in the past 10 years, maybe I can consider to go a shade darker. So let's say instead of brown 3, I'll go brown 4, but I will never go brown 5. Hello again, guys. On this chapter we're gonna talk about how to get a correct shape for the eyebrows. Basically is the most important process from the entire microblading procedure. It will take you probably the most time from the entire procedure, but we cannot compromise, and I'm gonna teach you in some very easy steps how to achieve a perfect shape. So basically, if I'm gonna try to draw an eyebrow over here, you could see that I am sliding the hand, right? So that's what you should do when you're actually drawing the shape in your eyebrow, in your customer eyebrows. Try to not have a stiff wrist because you're gonna make very thick lines and you're not gonna be able to kind of be flexible and just to kind of draw something smooth. So basically this is a hand drawing eyebrow shape without having any measurements, but we're gonna see later that during the procedure we're gonna use the sticky rulers that they kind of gonna help us to measure the eyebrows and to make sure that they are symmetrical. They are disposable and they're gonna get sticked in the eyebrow of the customer like we are seeing over here in the picture, and they're gonna be there for in the entire shaping process and they're gonna help us. We're actually gonna be able to use a magic eyebrow pencil, I wanna call it. It comes in 3 colors, which you have brown, black, and gray. And we're gonna see a little bit later on what this can, how this can help us in order to achieve a perfect shape. But now I'm gonna just do a classic drawing so you kind of see the proportions of the eyebrows. So basically, like I have it over here in the picture, we're gonna want to divide the eyebrows in 3 areas. So over here we're gonna have 2/3 of the eyebrows, or 66%, and over here the tail, you're gonna have 1/3 of the eyebrow or 33%. Those proportions are relative, they are not exact, but they are more or less what should consider in order to draw the eyebrow. Let's say if the customer have some hair, it's gonna be much easier for you. But in case that the customer has alopecia or the customer don't have any hairs, probably gonna want to stick with those proportions, and it's gonna make your life much easier. Now it's a big controversy. Everybody was saying that in order to draw eyebrows, you are actually needed to have a skill, or you are needed to be born with talent. And basically this was my major problem when I started my microblading career, because I didn't know how to shape eyebrows. It took me ages to kind of figure out a formula and to figure out that actually it's mathematic and it can be learned. It's a skill and it's not a talent. I'm gonna show you in a very easy way how you're gonna be able to measure it. So basically, if you look over here, if I'm trying to draw this part, and I'm trying to draw this part, you're gonna see the distance. Okay, let's point it first. A, B, D, I, C. So you're basically gonna see the distance from point A to point G is gonna be very similar with the distance from A to A. So if you're looking as a long box, you're gonna see that over here is basically a rectangle, and basically A and D and B and E, they're almost two parallel lines. I just came with a very soft curve over here in order to kind of smooth the effect of the eyebrow. And basically you could see that A and D, they're pretty much parallel. You're gonna see that D is considered to be highest superior point. A is gonna be considered highest inferior point. You're gonna want this eyebrow in the beginning to have a kind of 90 degrees angle, considering that this is the nose, so you don't actually want to go down. We're gonna learn later on today that those are the most common mistakes that most of the artists done. They get either too down or they get too long, so then they make the effect of tired eyes, or they kind of make the effect of the surprise face. So basically this is the structure of the eyebrow and how you should hand draw the eyebrow. We're gonna learn later on that if you're looking into the exercise book over here, we are kind of helping you guys how to achieve a perfect shape. So as a first step, after you just learn over here what I just showed you, you could still always have the perfect shape in front of you. You could just go ahead and try to connect the points in a very easy way. To kind of get used with the idea how to draw an eyebrow. This is actually gonna help you a lot when you're gonna draw the eyebrows, in order to understand the proportions and kind of have your kind of a cheating template in order to help you achieving the perfect shape. Once you're gonna be done with the shape and with those pages, and please don't jump them because they are very important and they're gonna really help you. And in this way you're gonna get a lot of practice and you become more confident. You're gonna go ahead and you're gonna move in the surface when you're not gonna actually have the points anymore. So you're gonna kind of need to get the points by yourself, right? So if I want to do my own eyebrow, basically, so I kind of achieve my own eyebrow by taking my own points. And after you go ahead and you're gonna fill out those pages as well, and they'll help you so much, and you're gonna become so more confident after drawing about 100 eyebrows. And please make sure you do that, because if you're jumping to the next step without actually achieving a perfect shape, you're gonna get stuck and you're not gonna be able to draw the hair strokes patterns in the right way unless you achieve a perfect shape. Once you're gonna be done with those templates, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna have a free drawing. This page, we're calling it the cheating page, so I'm gonna let you for you guys because you still see the drawing in the back, so it's gonna help you. But here you're kind of on your own. So imagine if you have a customer that has alopecia or passed through chemotherapy, or just simple pluck their eyebrows, or they don't have a defined shape. It's basically on you to kind of completely reshape the eyebrows, so you don't want actually to cheat over here. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna draw my shape. And I'm good to go. After you're gonna hand draw those shapes, you're gonna see that there is actually coming the challenge, because you're gonna need to completely draw based on having no features. You could always use the ruler in order to help yourself, but basically you're just shaping an entire eyebrow, and basically you kind of frame the entire face by doing microblading on those certain types of customers. And then you're gonna have the next stage where you're gonna have already a customer that they are real cases. They could be a real customer. So basically we're gonna try to kind of figure what's wrong on our customers and how we're gonna be able to correct that. In order to do that, we're gonna get our stickers. We're gonna get an eyebrow pencil. Let's try with black. This is the pencil. We're gonna open it. This is how it looks. For you guys to kind of measure the features, you could use the self-adhesives, sticky rulers, which I always recommend because they are disposable and very easy to use, or you could just use a classic plastic one, then you need to sanitize after each customer and reuse it. So I'm gonna show you how to use the self-adhesive one. They're gonna come packed like this. There are 4 in a row. So there are 20 in a package. They look like this. So you're gonna see that basically it's a ruler that is gonna help you to achieve a perfect shape. So we're gonna always begin, as we learned earlier, in the middle of the eyebrows of the customer. However, this page over here doesn't really does the justice of a real face size, but I'm gonna try to show you what are the bases so you can get of an idea. I already got half of the nose. I try to make it as straight as possible, and then I'm gonna see what this is gonna help us with. On the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna teach you how to sharpen your pen and why the pen is so special. So this is how the pen looks like. You're gonna want to pull the rope down and you kind of want to peel it off. Basically, when you shape this pen, you want to achieve the same effect that you will use like a blade, in order to be able to be very precise and be able to draw the box in a very precise way, and to be able to actually draw even the hair strokes inside the customer. So you don't want to go this way because you're probably going to break the head, but you want to go towards inside you. You want to be very precise and very slow to just not break the head. You should go softer by softer. I also broke it. So, if you have a pencil sharpened very well, you should have a blade effect basically. So you're gonna be able to even draw the hair strokes very precisely. Okay, and let's see what's the effect on the skin. You're gonna see that even though I drew them earlier, so I can draw an entire eyebrow over here. And what's the good part about those pencils? They are waterproof. So, and I'm actually pressing right now, they're gonna still be there. So while you are actually working in your customer, they will help you a lot, because the shape and the template is gonna still be there. So let's say I'm drawing an eyebrow shape. Let's say a possible customer that it has alopecia, and I'm actually wiping, and I'm actually pressing right now. The shape is still there. Let me show you how we can achieve a shape in our customer face. We don't need this anymore. You will want to kind of see where you want to start the eyebrow and what are the issues that you would want to fix with this customer. By example, her eyebrows begin too far away. So I already achieved the middle of the eyebrow, and then I need the half of the nose. So basically this is a 25%. And this part is a 25%. Okay, and this will be another 25%, and this will be another 25%. You're gonna want to get very close to her eyebrows area, because she kind of thick enough eyebrows, but they are kind of missing a part over here, and they are like kind of too much plucked, I would say. So you want to make sure that you're getting your measurement points. I will say I will begin this eyebrow in point, let's say we are beginning in point 1.5. So you're getting your 1.5 point, and then you're getting the highest point of the eyebrow, which for her is basically 6.5 for us. And then the tail is going to be somewhere over here. The pencil is kind of creamy, so I will not actually want to draw with a creamy one over here, because I'm not going to be able to achieve a crispy thin line. So I'll still use the regular pencil. So basically I just want to go very close to her hair growing. And you could see that her eyebrows kind of go down, so it kind of give me the effect of the tired eyes. So if I will have my imaginary line over here, her eyebrows should come on the top of that in order to help her to lift her eyes. So basically what I will do, I came till the top, and this is probably gonna be the tail for her, and then I'm going slightly over here. I correct the chroma effect, and then the next step, it will be like kind of twist the unwanted hair and start to draw the stroke inside. It might look intimidated and it might look that it's a big shape, but actually it's not, because once you start to fill it in with the strokes, you're gonna see that the box actually will disappear. I'm not actually drawing a right hair pattern now, but I just wanted to show you that actually it will look natural despite of the fact that it looks that it's big. It's actually not big. Right? So if I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna actually clean up the main line, you're gonna see that you kind of end up having a shaped eyebrow. So see, it's not actually that thick. Okay, so if you clean it up right and you're removing the hair, actually you're gonna see that it looks pretty natural. And then the next step, what we're gonna have, you're gonna see that we are having different models from different life with different issues. By example, this eyebrow is too down, this one is too up, those one are too roundish. Over here, you're gonna see that they have the chroma effect. So you're gonna see that every single customer that we do meet, they have different issues that we need to fix. We're gonna move to some famous stars that they have zero eyebrows, and could be our imaginary customers that they do have alopecia or they don't have any hair. So it's gonna be on our job to kind of go ahead and start to draw their eyebrows. So we just finished with achieving a very nice eyebrows shape. It's not easy, but it's not difficult either. Now, like, you kind of got all the tools that you needed and you kind of got the step-by-step. So actually what it comes right now is practice and practice. So actually I was telling you, Sumitra, as well, like, shaping is the hardest part of the entire procedure, and you guys are blessed that you already know how to kind of shape the eyebrows. That's actually the biggest challenge for the entire, like, for the most artists, to do the shaping basically. So once you achieve the shaping, basically 80% of your final result is done, because you kind of know how to actually work inside the box and so on. We learned earlier about the eyebrows area, and now by hair patterns perspective, I'm gonna want to divide eyebrow in 3 parts. In the front is gonna be the beginning of the eyebrow. In the middle is gonna be the transition, where we're gonna divide the transition in 2 parts, and then we're gonna have the tail of the eyebrow with a connecting bridge. So basically, if I want to draw over here, okay, this is gonna be an eyebrow, and we already learned earlier that here it should be approximately 2 parts of the eyebrow, and here 1 part of the eyebrow. And here we're gonna have 2 parts of the eyebrow, or 66%. I will want exactly in the highest point to divide it and get 1.3, and then I will want to divide the beginning and the transition by 1.3 as well, approximatively. It's never gonna be exactly, but just the idea. And I want to divide the transition in 2 parts, so I will want to have about half of the height over here, so I would want to have this as a transition cover up. The downside, I want it to be the transition area. The beginning, I would want to have it the beginning area. The tail, I will want to have it as a tail area. And as explained over here in the screen, 30% divided into and 30%. The most important part, in order to have it smooth over here, I would want to point how we are building the connective bridge between the transition and the tail in order to avoid that fishtail effect that you kind of see it all over. And in order to help it smooth, you want to build it exactly at the half height over here. So basically there are some almost 180 degrees horizontal lines slightly curved both ways. That they will help us achieve the nice transition. Okay? And let's start with the beginning of the eyebrow. What's the rule of drawing hair strokes? There is no rule. Your hair will grow different than your hair and different than your hair and different than your hair. So what is the most important is just to follow the hair pattern and just go ahead. You're gonna see a billion of hair stroke patterns in the internet. You're gonna see so many different opinions about hair stroke patterns. Been there, done that. With this hair stroke pattern, 99.99999 of the customers you cannot just fail because it's irregular and it's a hand drawing and you're just basically following the hairs, the natural hair. If we do have some hair, if we don't have a hair and it's a completely alopecia, yeah, fine, you could follow that pattern, but this is basically just a drawing and I'm not following any results. So you're gonna see that it's gonna be unique for every single customer. So you're gonna see what I drew there probably like 2-3 years ago when I've done those slides will be nothing to do with what I'm drawing right now, but overall you're gonna obtain the same result, a natural result. So I'm gonna go ahead. The rule of drawing the beginning of the eyebrow, this is very important. The direction of the strokes, it's vertical, slightly curved, right? So if I would actually want to draw a 90% angle over here, it's almost straight, half of it, and then it gets slightly bended over here. Make sense? Because that's usually the growing direction of the hair in the front. If you're gonna go too straight, it's gonna go like greens, right? If you go to curls, like you're gonna see like those patterns that they are like palms, it's gonna look very unnatural. When it's gonna heal, it's gonna look like commas over here. So you don't really want to do that. How I'm gonna draw the beginning of the eyebrow? Freehand, however you feel to do it. Don't get the strokes too close at this point because you're gonna always come back and add new strokes in between, right? Please make sure that you're not touching the strokes at this point. I'm gonna show you later on how to touch the strokes. It's very important to hold at least 0.2 millimeters between the strokes because you're not gonna have enough experience at the very beginning to know how to touch your strokes without actually breaking the strokes and without actually creating how we call sausages, those very thick lines, okay? So please make sure that you're holding a decent distance between the strokes. If you look at those strokes over here, you're gonna see that all have one thing in common, but all look different one to each other. You're gonna see that all of them go straight up, they have the same direction, but all have a different point of start, different point of end, different length, and different position. So in this way, they kind of all go smooth towards the same direction, but at the end of the day, they are very irregular placed, so they don't give you the effect of just doing this. Make sense? Moving forward to the next area is gonna be the transition, where you're gonna see that the stroke gonna start to bend and to be longer. This is the body of the eyebrow. This is the direction. So you could still see that over here, if I'm basically counting, it's basically a 45 degrees angle. And I'm going towards transition area, filling in the body of the eyebrow. Then it's going to be the third area, the bridge that I already built it at the very beginning. And then it's going to be the tail of the eyebrow, which is going to come 45 degrees angle downside. So let's say I'm going to have it here, or I'm going to have it over here, right? It's going to be 45 degrees. When I'm doing the strokes, they are going this way, not this way and not this way, right? If I'm doing this way, I'm going to have a fishtail directly. If I do this way, I'm going to cut her entire arch and then I'm going to make a entire eyebrow. So it's very important to follow the flow and the curve of the eyebrow, because if you're going to come with a super straight line exactly in the angle of the eyebrow, it's going to look very unnatural and very fake. So I make sure that I don't crisscross them. They are going towards the same direction, all of them, right? But they don't meet each other. This is going to be the tail. And then I'm coming back to my transition cover-up. And that's the beautiness of not creating a rooftop over there, where the beginning of the eyebrow meet the end of the eyebrow. We're going to come back with the strokes from both sides, trying to create a very natural result. So you want to come with strokes this way, and then you want to come with strokes this way, in order to kind of bend and blend whatever you are creating in the body of the eyebrow. And then I'm coming from the other side as well. If you don't have a decent transition cover-up, your eyebrows will look like this, beginning, tail. And this is directly a rooftop. And you don't really want to have those things because they literally look horrible. Now, in order to achieve the hyper-realistic result, I don't have another color. I wish I had another color. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some baby strokes in between with the black marker so you could understand. Once you're completely done with the base of the eyebrow, so it's very important, beginning of the area, number 1. Transition of the area, number 2. Bridge, number 3. Tail, number 4. Transition cover-up, number 5. And only when you are completely done with the body of the eyebrow, you come back with the baby strokes, and then you could achieve a 6D effect, the hyper-realistic result, coming back with like smaller strokes, just connective them. So baby, just for volume though. And over here in the tail, I'll add them with a different color so you will kind of see the difference. I would not advise you to do this from the very beginning. I will advise you to do this step at the touch-up, because then you're going to understand how you're going to heal, and you don't want, the last thing that you actually want is to overwork the area. You don't want to overwork the area, but you don't want to create greens and spaces in between the eyebrows as well. So feel free to add as many strokes as you feel comfortable, but please do not overwork the area because it doesn't help. Better have less strokes and that chop rather than mess them up and have too many and then cross over and kind of create like patchy surfaces. This is how it's pretty much fill up the eyebrow. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna draw down some types of the beginning. Very important when you draw the beginning, have you seen that I relax again my wrist? Okay? So your hand is going slide up, relaxing the wrist. Do not hold your wrist or your hand on the air, because if you hold your hand in the air, you're not gonna actually be able to do the smooth lines. The secret on doing nice crispy strokes is relaxing the hand, but the hand on the skin, the customer skin, because we're gonna see that when we are working actually in the live students, we're gonna stretch the skin, okay? So actually the small finger is gonna help you stretch the skin and it's gonna help you stabilize your entire hand. So it's very important to learn from now to kind of relax your hand, right? So maybe now if you could play us a video how we actually do the hair strokes, then you will understand what I actually draw over here, so then we could go ahead and start to practice. Sounds good? So basically what I'm actually doing right now, I'm performing the step number 1. But what we do care right here, we care about the stroke position. And if you look at the stretch of my skin, you're gonna see that I'm using my point finger to stretch the skin and create thin and long lines. Just look at the position of my finger. You're gonna see that in the other eyebrow, I rotate and I start from the back of the customer. It's much easier, and then I go rotate towards the end of the customer, and I'm gonna show you in the paper exactly how to do it in the latex in order to make it easier, in order to help you how to get your position, because you might find tricky to kind of balance the left eyebrow with the right eyebrow. So we're gonna play in the background the shaping process as well. And what I want from you guys, I want you to go ahead and open your practice book and let's start to practice the hair stroke direction. So if you open your book at page 38, you're gonna see that over here we kind of give you guys a template, the direction of the hair stroke that you should follow. You should go ahead and fill in those 2 brows at the very beginning, and only after you're done with those 2 brows you could go ahead and fill in down, okay? Those are not how it's supposed to be done. This is just the body of the eyebrow. So please go ahead and fill it in, and I and Ellen will come between you guys and we're gonna start to correct you. Do not go fast. Please make sure that you're doing it right from the very beginning, because if I see that you guys gonna just jump and do them in like 5 seconds, then we're having the beginnings here, and we have the transition, and then we have the tail. So whatever I see that you're lacking, you're gonna do like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And you're not gonna go to the next step before you actually perfect this part. So please pay attention, because it's really important. This makes the difference between you and the artists that they go and they make a roof and a fishtail, okay? That's the difference. Thank you. If you could open as well your theory book, page 14. You're gonna have exactly the PowerPoint that we had on the screen over there. You're gonna have it over here with the first step. Okay, beginning. Then you're gonna have the transition, and then you're gonna have the bridge, and then you're gonna have the tail, and then you're gonna have the transition cover up. So it's page 14 and page 15. We're gonna play it very soon in the screen as well. Look at your hand. Slow and precise, okay? You control the hand doesn't control you. Because if you do that, you can't control your depth or your speed. I don't wanna see this. That's not gonna happen. You go slow. You see, if I go slow, I can go precise, a stroke bigger like this board, right? because I control the hand doesn't control me. Yeah, but slow down. Okay?
Should be.
Yep, here perfect. But this one I don't like it because it goes too straight and you're missing the transition part, right?
So like.
Yep, this looks good. However, I don't like this part here because it gives me the tired effect. But I like this part and I like this one, right? But you just want to fill it in. Usually you should start to do at least 20, 30, 50 people that they are not so difficult cases, right? Here is gonna be fine because it's me, it's my colleague, and we're gonna help you. But you're gonna get discouraged if you go and work in very difficult cases home and you're gonna just quit. Okay, so try to work in people that they have really beautiful eyebrows, so you barely need to touch anything at the very beginning. That will help you to gain your confidence. Trust me, like I started with the worst cases ever and worst corrections, and I was going home and crying. Like it didn't work, and then I just learned to teach, like start with easy, gain confidence, know what you're doing, and then come back and fix bad cases, right? You don't want to do them too many because then you're gonna have the problem with the healing, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want to make them so perfect because then they will look fake, right? So you want to kind of do them slightly, like here. Here is perfect, but here is not. Okay, because here they kind of look like all they are like a standard, while here they all look like they are very natural and they fit very well. Lighter and more irregular rather than regular, because when it's, I love your brows by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, because when they look like so straight, they look like there's something wrong over there. It's something fake. Make sense? Perfect. Awesome, great job. I love it. Shaping of eyebrows, it's a chapter that probably it will take you the most time from the entire procedure, but is the most important step during the entire procedure. We're gonna learn general steps in the shaping process. We're gonna learn how to achieve a perfect shape. We're gonna learn what are the common mistakes during the process of shaping. We're gonna learn what are customer desires versus customer needs. And I would want to have a model that I would want to do a live drawing of the eyebrows. Is anyone voluntary? Can I do your eyebrows? Sure. Yeah? Okay. We're going to have a live model that I'm going to do the brow mapping. For the first, I'm going to explain the theory. I'm going to explain on the slides what we are doing about brow mapping. And then I'm going to show you step by step how can we achieve a perfect shape in less than 20 minutes. And as far as I already told you, this is the most important step in the entire microblading procedure. So you should not even consider to go ahead and perform the procedure because before you are sure that the shape is perfect without compromising. Okay? We're going to talk about the general step in the shaping process. The shape of the eyebrows must be established by the artist in cooperation with the client. In general, eyebrows should not be neither too thick or too thin. To establish the symmetry, is it necessary to follow the initial shape of the brow, the direction of the hair growing, if there is any hair growing, and the feature of that person. The correct position to establish the symmetry is the sitting position with eyes closed and forehead completely relaxed, except in the cases when the person opens the eyes and changes the facial symmetry. In this case, the symmetry should be achieved with eyes closed and eyes open. This is a bit controversial in the entire beauty industry to just line down the customer and use those standard ratio things, how to achieve the perfect shape. Nothing wrong with that. They'll look perfect while they are sleeping. But in the moment when they're gonna stand up and they're gonna start to talk and when they're gonna open their eyes, they're gonna have, I can guarantee you from now, and you could go ahead and try home, one eyebrow up and one eyebrow down. As you could see that I'm talking right now, I'm changing the features of my face. If I close my eyes and I completely relax my forehead, you're gonna see that I do have a different shape of eyebrows, and when I'm talking and when I'm smiling and when I'm expressing feelings through my face features, you're gonna see that my face change. So when you're shaping your customers' eyebrows, they don't really care how they look when they are sleeping. They do care to have beautiful eyebrows when they see themselves in the mirror, when they talk with other people, and that's pretty much all they care about. If you're telling them, but I use the perfect ratio, and when you're lying down, they look perfect, they look the picture, they're like, I don't care, I care how do I look like when I open my eyes, right? Are you guys agreeing? So the only way how you would be able to achieve a perfect shape, have your customer sit on the side of the bed. Go ahead and draw the eyebrows, close the eyes, open the eyes, and kind of balance and compromise. Even though you're gonna have an eyebrow different slightly than the other one while they close their eyes, it's okay. All you care is when they open their face and when they're talking, when they actually have feature. So regardless, you're gonna have an eyebrow different in the left rather than in the right side, because our left side is different than the right side. But you have to, again, bear in mind that the features are completely different when they lie down, when they stand up, when they smile, when they talk. Okay? We're gonna get a ruler in the forehead of the customer. We're gonna get the middle of the nose, which is gonna be our guidance, right? Exactly like here, the middle of the nose is gonna be the point number 0 of the ruler, and then we're gonna stick the ruler on the forehead. Here is the pack of the rulers that we're gonna use. Each individual ruler is like a ruler sticker, so you want to dispose it after each individual customer. They are coming in series of 4, so make sure that you're opening one of them. And you're gonna see over here that is point number 0, where you're gonna stick it exactly where I showed you on the screen. The shaping process. I'm gonna talk a little bit about it, like the theory part, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna really show you what is happening. We remove all the makeup prior shaping. We already talked about that, right? We do wipe them with alcohol prep pads. We take good pictures before we start. We already talked about that. We have our customer in the sitting position. We already talked about that. Using the drawing pencil, we place a line on the forehead in the middle of the superior part of the eyebrow. Okay? This is a drawing pencil. I'm going to teach you how to sharpen your eyebrows and how to use it as a best tool. This is the best tool that you'll probably have before the blades. And I'm going to explain you what's the difference between using this pencil and what is the difference between using another type of pencil. Basically, you're going to see that it's a tiny little rope over here, which is just going to pull it slightly, and you're just going to peel it off till you're getting a decent size. And then you're going to want to have an X-Acto knife in order to sharpen that. So what you basically want to achieve with this, you want to achieve the effect of a blade. So you're going to be able to draw the eyebrow, and you're going to actually be able to draw the strokes and kind of simulate what's the actual effect and how the customer is going to look like. And sharper is your pencil, you're going to see that better is going to be for you when you're going to draw the eyebrow. How are you going to sharpen the knife? You don't want to go this way because you're going to break it. You want to go this way, but you want to be very careful to not cut yourself, of course, and you want to be very careful to not break the head. Obviously, you're going to break the head, but I mean, that's how it is. You need to be very precise and very soft to not break it. And there is a reason why I don't use gloves right now. It's because I want to show you exactly how you could draw in the real skin strokes once you have sharpened it perfectly. So you could see over here how I'm actually able to draw the strokes. Even I want to clean it up. It's water resistant. So it's there and it's gonna help you, right? You're not gonna find any pencil in the entire market that is gonna be that precise unless you really go and usually you'll find round ones. So unless you really want to go ahead and make a blade effect, which is gonna be just wasting of your time, you're not gonna be able to get this result over here. And watch, I'm really pressing. I'm going to show you later how to actually start to do the shaping. So let's hypothetically presume that she's our customer, and we're gonna have actually the consultation as well. Let's have the consultation and ask our customer, what are your desires? What would you like to achieve with your eyebrows? You have pretty much beautiful eyebrows yourself.
Make them look prettier. I don't know. A little darker maybe? Shaped better.
That's the best customer that you could have, which is very unlikely that you're gonna have this customer that is gonna kind of give you the free hand to do whatever you consider that you should do. However, the best results that you could ever have are in the customers that they do appreciate that you're the artist, and they gonna kind of give you free hand to do their eyebrows. Those are the best results that I ever had. This is not a microblading procedure, so I don't really rub her and everything. I just do a brow mapping demo. She has beautiful eyebrows. If you're gonna shape all your customers seem like you're shaping your own eyebrows, like, you're good. We already talked that we're gonna look for the middle part of the eyebrow. Oh, sorry, of her nose. Fair enough. I'm gonna get the ruler. Stick it on her forehead with a 0.0. We're gonna see that we want to make sure that the beginning on the first eyebrow is gonna be the same beginning in the other eyebrow. So basically, on her case, more than likely the eyebrow is gonna come in number 1. We're gonna learn later on that the eyebrow is gonna be divided in 3 parts. It's gonna be beginning of eyebrow, the transition of eyebrow, and the tail of the eyebrow. At this point, it's very important to achieve what is the highest point of the eyebrow, which on her case is like 4.7, and over here is gonna be like 4.72, and the tail of the eyebrow, which is like point number 3, and it's gonna be in her case like 7.23, and over here is like 7.23. Why we want to do this? To have proportional eyebrows. You want to stretch the skin while you're drawing in order to be able to achieve a very thin line, right? So if you're not stretching the skin, you're gonna have a line that looks like this, and you don't actually want that. When you stretch it, you're gonna have a perfect thin line. Thinner you have the line, better and cleaner results you're gonna have. I'm going very close to the hair drawing because she has very beautiful eyebrows herself. I'm stretching. See the points of stretching? One is in the arch and one is going down way, right? Because I want to do a parallel line. I'm getting to the highest point and I stop. Then I kind of go sideways, following her hair growing. And then I go down way, still stretching, following her hair growing. And I kind of meet in the same point. And then I'm gonna get the sharpening sticks and in the unlikely case that I have anything to correct, I will just wet them up with alcohol. And I will just try to correct. basically this is the box of the eyebrow. We are working only inside the box, so you're gonna see that they're not gonna be that thick in the real life. Now I'm gonna start to draw the hair strokes itself. What I would feel if I would really perform microblading on her today, right? So basically this is what you would do at the consultation for the customer to kind of get an idea what you're gonna do. And if you really want the customer to have a this is the shaping that you should do prior microblading, right? So you have your own box when you're starting to do the procedure itself. But if she would be at a consultation right now and I kind of want her to see how it actually gonna look like in the real life and when it's gonna be healed, what I'm gonna do, after I draw the strokes, I come back with the same corrector sticks, I remove the box, and that's pretty much the new shape that she's gonna get. And this is how pretty much they're gonna look like when they are completely healed. Make sense?
Wow.
Can you see the difference?
Yes, of course I can see. That's beautiful.
Now I'm gonna remove her makeup. And I'm gonna invite her to, sorry, this is a free waxing included in the treatment.
No problem.
Okay, and now we are good. You guys can come back and I'm gonna start to draw exactly what I drew to her on the real board, and then we're gonna learn on the real paper how to actually achieve a real shape and how to map a brown regardless that the customer have hair or the customer doesn't have hair. We already talked earlier that you need to adjust your shape until you are 100% confident, right? Don't compromise to say, oh, I'll fix it while I'm doing the procedure, because you're not gonna know what you're gonna do and you're not gonna know what kind of standard to follow. You're not gonna know how to actually follow the box. So make sure that you're completely satisfied with the box and make sure that your customers see the eyebrow box before you're gonna start the procedure. So have you seen how thick it looked with the box? And have you seen how it looks like when I remove the box? Basically, I can do the procedure without the box. I don't need a box, especially on a case like her, that she has a beautiful eyebrows herself. But do not attempt to do that before you really know what you're actually doing there. My biggest struggle in my entire career, and it took me about 2 years, it was how to draw a shape, because nobody ever taught me how to draw a shape. And all the artists that I've ever met, they were telling me, this is an art, this is a talent, it can't be taught. Let me tell you that that's a big BS, okay? And leave it on the side. How to draw a shape is pure mathematics, and it's pure based on shape of the eyebrow of the customer, but everything gets, how would I say it? It's calculated, and you're gonna see that it's a formula that you could use it for all your customers, basically. So over here, if you have a look of the eyebrow, I already showed you that the eyebrow was divided in 2 parts while I was drawing, and 1 part the tail. So from the beginning to the arch is gonna be 66% of the eyebrow, which is like 2 parts of the eyebrow, and the tail is gonna be 33 of the eyebrows. You're gonna see that you will never want to have the point C going too down, because then you're gonna have the effect of the tired eyebrows. You don't want it to have too high because they're gonna look too unnatural and they're gonna point away too high. So you kind of want to have actually a balance as well. You want them to go from thicker to thinner. The line AD is almost parallel with the line BE. However, if they don't have so much hair, you will want the line E to go slightly higher. This is in a perfect world, like her, that she have beautiful eyebrows, right? But if the customer doesn't have so much hair, probably you want to lift point E over here. And just to understand how mathematics is made, you're going to see that point FA. So basically over here is a triangle that is equal with this triangle over here. So if you look over here, it's basically a box, a rectangle with two lines parallel that are crossing each other. So the distance from here is the same with the distance from here. And you're going to see that the point E and the point C, they are meeting together in the top of number B. Make sense? Let me try to draw it for you, and I will explain it over and over and over till I will make sure that everybody will understand. So if you could open your book, please. On the shaping process, you're going to see that you're going to have the same thing that I'm going to do over there. I haven't drawn an eyebrow in about 1 year and a half, so I was really scared that I will mess it up. But if you mess it up, you just wipe it and you're going to do it again, right? But I guess that once it gets on your blood, I have a skill that I can never get rid of it, so it's for my benefit, I guess. I'm going to have the point number A over here, and then I'm going to have D, which is the highest point of the eyebrow. You're going to have C. You're going to have B. And then you're going to see that if I'm doing an imaginary line over here, and then doing an imaginary line over here, you're going to see that the distance from here to here is pretty much equal. This will give you a decent proportion, so it's not going to be either too high or either too low. However, you need to adjust it based on the feature of the customer, how much actually hair do we have over there, right? So here it's going to be the highest inferior point. You're going to see that the eyebrow is going from thicker to thinner. And you're going to see that from A to D, it's 2 parts of the eyebrow. And from point D to point C, it's basically 1/3 of the eyebrow. Make sense so far? And B, there, the beginning of eyebrows. Do never, ever, ever do those boxes. Like this. Never. They look unnatural. I've never seen an eyebrow to grow so straight. There are some eyebrows, they grow up pretty straight and they come quite close. Basically, they barely gonna need microblading over there, but to try to not do the typical straight line because it looks very harsh. So if I try to do it in a very mathematic way that you can never ever fail it, look at this. Sorry. Basically, from A to D, it's a very straight line. Blue doesn't work? Okay, I'm gonna do it with another color. Let's say I do it with red. And you're gonna see from D to point E that it's almost straight. So basically what I have here, 2 straight lines, right? So just here I came with a very soft buckle in order to make it look natural, right? So if you're really mathematic and logic like I am, I'll just imagine two straight lines and I'll just go slightly curved under the BE line just to make it look smooth, right? And over here you're gonna see that they are basically two straight lines, which they are slightly smoothed up a bit here and slightly a bit here, right? But as a base, they are basically two straight lines. They are finishing in the tail. Does it make sense? I want to go one more time about the hair stroke pattern, and I want to show you one more time step by step why you should start with the beginning, why you should go ahead to the transition, why you should build your bridge, why you should go for the tail, and why you should go the transition cover up. So the beginning, we already talked that I'm going 90 degrees, slightly bend it over here. And the direction of the hair is towards up, following the natural hair pattern. And that's just for 1/3 of the eyebrow, right? Remember that we learned the beginning of the eyebrow? And then it's gonna come to the next one, right? So now I'm gonna try to draw a very similar eyebrow under. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna draw the transition for you guys. So we learned that the strokes are quite longer over here and I slightly bent 45 degrees. So this is direction, so let's say this is a 90 degrees angle. This is a 45 degrees. I'm not gonna go ahead and I'm gonna draw a new eyebrow just for the bridge, but I'm gonna make it with a different color over here. So this is basically gonna be your bridge. So let's say this one was the area number 3. Sorry. We learned that the transition is number 2. The beginning is the area number 1. The bridge is basically a slightly curved, almost horizontal. So if you look at the direction of the stroke, you kind of see that it's basically a horizontal line, slightly bended on the sides. So it's a 180 degrees angle, basically curved slightly over here. And we learned earlier that this will help you to avoid to have a fishtail. And then we're gonna go in the area number 4, which is gonna be the tail. So let's say my bridge was here. I'm gonna just go around that. And I'm gonna come both sides from downside and upside, following the hair pattern. So basically, this is a 45 degrees angle downside. So let's say this is the angle. It's going towards right side. Okay, so if we saw the beginning is going the other way, this goes this way. And then we're gonna have the transition cover up, the 5th area of the eyebrow. So let's say this was the 4th one. Oh, I made it the same color. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna draw a new one, and I'm gonna just draw it over here so you get the idea. So basically the transition cover up, this very important part over here. It meant to kind of blend the beginning of the eyebrow and the end of the eyebrow in a smooth area that you're not gonna get a roof over there. So you're kind of gonna have strokes coming both ways over here. following the first patterns over here. And basically I already showed you the all 5 areas. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna draw a new eyebrows over here, and I'm gonna show you every single step that I've done it over here. Just in step number 4, I'm gonna change the color so you're gonna understand the difference. Not the most exact one, but it's okay. I'm gonna divide my eyebrow again. Beginning. And I'm gonna go ahead and I dry I'm gonna draw my beginning. Following the direction, and then I'm gonna go ahead in the transition. Remember the direction, okay? And then I'm gonna build my bridge. And then I'm gonna build the tail, that I don't cut the strokes in between. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do the transition cover up. Sorry, I kind of wanted to add the volume as well, so I forgot to change the color. So basically, I built the transition cover up over here in the top. And now basically, between the mother strokes, you're gonna want to come back and kind of do the baby strokes and see wherever you kind of could fill up again with some strokes. So wherever you see that you do have a gap after you kind of fill up with the first step, you kind of want to come back in between, and wherever you feel that you want to add more strokes, you could go ahead and do that, and I will still do it with the same color because I don't have the 6th color over here. Again, make sure that you're still holding a decent enough distance between the strokes. You're gonna have less strokes at the very beginning and add more because it's gonna be much more complicated to actually work in a skin in case that you're gonna damage that skin. So it's very important to always remember to respect the beginning, the transition, the bridge, the tail, and the transition cover up, because it's gonna make your life much easier in order to have a very smooth pattern. So in that way, you're gonna avoid to have that fishtail, green defect, you're gonna avoid to have the root top over here. So basically, if there is no transition, there is not a smooth going between the beginning and the end of the eyebrow. So in order to have a very nice and natural result, you really want to go smooth. So if you look over here, the entire curve comes like this. Can you see it? So all goes in a smooth way. So that's pretty much everything about the hair stroke patterns. And you're gonna see there are a bunch of other hair strokes patterns that you could always follow, but if you're following this hair pattern, you're not gonna fail. I use this one for 99.9999 of my customers, and the only moment when I'm gonna use another different pattern is gonna be just to prove that I can do another one. But this one is the most common and you can't really fail. Just master this one before you even attempt to consider to learn another hair pattern. What I'm gonna show you in this lesson, I'm gonna show you how to actually do the hair strokes pattern on a latex piece. I'm gonna introduce the tools that we're gonna use for the first. I'm gonna use the step number 1. And I'm gonna use a piece of latex, and then I'm gonna use the step number 2, and then I'm gonna show you different types of blades and how we are actually using those blades during the practice. And then I'm gonna present you the pigments and each of the pigment, what it actually what we can actually achieve with each different pigment. And for the first, I'm gonna start to talk with you about the difference and a typical tattoo machine. As you could see over here in the picture, we do have a description of the layer of the depth where actually the tattoo machine it goes. So you could see that the tattoo machine needle, it goes very close to the hair follicle actually, compared with microblading, where we just basically cut the epidermis and we go in the first layer of the derm. So we are not much damaging the skin like a tattoo will damage the skin. So we barely touch the first layer of the dermis. And when microblading is performed correctly, actually it's you're gonna see that you're gonna have a crispier and nicer and smoother effect when we are working lighter than deeper, and you're gonna have a better color retention when we are actually working lighter than deeper. Despite of all the facts, stick the needle deeper to have a better color retention. That's the worst advice that you could ever get. I'm telling you that softer and smoother you work, crispier and nicer color retention you're gonna have. And I'm gonna present you the step number 1. For the first, when you're buying your microblading tools, you have to make sure that your lot number, the expiration date, the size, and you're gonna have the certificate of sterilization, and make sure that each individual wrapped individual. It has the sterilization indicators over here. It has the lot number, the expiration number, and the manufacture date. The health department requires you to have those features in order to be able to use the tools properly. Make sure that you're unwrapping the tools in front of your customer and not prior that, so the customer can see that the tools are new, never used. And then I'm gonna present you the tool number 1, and I'm gonna tell you what's so special about this tool. It comes with a lid over here that I stop it with my finger when I open it. So if you are coming very close, you're gonna see that there are basically 14 very thin needles in a row that they're gonna give you the effect of a very thin blade. If I'm pointing in the latex, you're gonna see that they are quite flexible. So basically you're gonna want to have this movement over here, okay, in order to achieve very nice, crispy and thin strokes. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna open a color cup. Make sure the same thing that you are getting the color cups, that they are completely disposable. They are individually packed. They do have the manufacture date, expiration date, lot number, so the health department will give you the license that you need, or certificate, or permit, or whatever, without any headache. So you're gonna have the sign, use it only if the packet's sealed. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna grab a pair of gloves. Stop. I'm gonna open our pigments. They come in 2 sizes, small size and large size. We do have 5 major colors. They are pre-warmed, so this is the main characteristic of the new line. You don't need to pre-mix them to kind of avoid to have a cool or to have a warm effect. They are creamy. They are highly saturated in color. They are ready to use. They suit all the skin types, including the large pore skin type. So that's actually another main feature that we do have with the new pigments. The color retention is significantly better than the old line, and you're gonna see that at the touch up you will barely need to do any strokes for your customers. But we're gonna come back later on and we're gonna talk about each individual pigment and what you can achieve with each individual pigment and who is gonna be suitable for. But now I just want to show you the basically the hair strokes. So inside the pigment box, again, look for the lot number, manufacturer date, and the expire date. It's required by the health department in each state to have labeled all your materials. You're gonna see that each individual color is gonna have those features. And then we're gonna have brown 1, brown 2, brown 3, brown 4, and brown 5, and all of them, they will feature the expiration date, manufacture date, and the lot number. And let's start with, I'm gonna use brown 5 for practice because it's the darkest color and it's gonna help you to understand a way better. So I'm gonna get a pigment. That's how they look like. Make sure that, again, you're gonna have the expiration date, the manufacture date, and the lot number on the bottles. I'm kind of become obsessed of that, but it's so important. And it's nothing worse than the health department to kind of shut you down or to don't let you practice when you have a customers line outside of your door. So you don't really want that, and you want to avoid that as much as you can. This is a consistency of the pigments. While I'm practicing the latex, I'm using wipes, but make sure that during the customers you are not actually using wipes and you are using just sterile water and cotton pads. But for the latex, it's much easier to use the wipes. So basically, I'm just getting the pigment that I need, and I will just use this paper because it's more flat rather than the cup. But for the customer, you just want to use the cup. So I will show you how to use both of them. You don't want to use this part, you want to use the other part. So you kind of want to mix up a bit of pigment. And I often get a question, how much pigment should I use for a customer? It's very relative and depends on how big spender you are. They don't require a lot of pigment at all because they have a very thick and creamy consistency. So they basically never dry. So they will be, well, never during your procedure at least. So what I will probably use normally after I mix them well, this is probably what you will need. So I'm getting this pigment. I don't put it in a cup right now because I don't need a cup. I'm not working in a customer. I just want to show you in the latex. So I just twist it on the side to not lose the pigment. Okay. And then I'm going to use this for disposal. I'm closing my pigment back. And then I'm going to start to draw the strokes for you. You see the quantity of the pigment that I do have on my blade? Actually, it's very little quantity. Do not dig your blades on the pigment and use a lot of pigment because then you're going to work messy and you're not going to be able to kind of see what you're actually doing right now. And draw the hair strokes. You don't need to dig every single step for the pigment. You just need to dig whenever you feel that is necessary. Look at my hand position and look at my small tip. You're gonna see that my small tip is always on the latex, and you're gonna see that I'm twisting everything in between here. I do not hold my hand in the air like I showed you earlier in the paper exercise, because then I'm not gonna have stability of my hand, right? So then I dig again in the pigment. I move towards the transition area. I do not speed up and I take my time. I'm very precise. I'm building my bridge that we talked, step number 3, to avoid the fishtail. Once I'm done with my bridge, I build my tail. I make sure that I do not connect the strokes in between. And then I basically come back at the transition cover up, the 5th area, and I add strokes in between coming by both directions. And then I just come back wherever I feel that I need more strokes. And then basically I just come back and wipe and check my work. And this is basically how your first step it should look like. And over here, if I'm gonna open the latex, I'm gonna see that I basically look at the cut to see if I kind of have an uniform pressure. So if you see that you're gonna do a line pretty much like this, and one like this, and one like this, if I wipe it and I actually want to check my own pressure, I'm gonna see that the pressure is little more uneven, and then you're gonna have a very bad heal result, because you see here I'm actually too deep, so this stroke it will heal thick. It's not gonna be crispy, it's gonna be blurry, and the other one they will be very noticeable because you actually didn't penetrate the skin. So it's very important actually to have the same depth and the same pressure in every single stroke, and to kind of relax your hand, right? The right pressure for you and the right deepness and the position is going to be 90 degrees. 90 degrees, and do not use the entire blade. You just use the tip and half of the blade. Twist, twist, twist. Attention, do not go straight and twist over here at the end. So you either twist from the very beginning or you don't twist at all. Make sense? It does. Because over here you're gonna see that you kind of broke the skin. Imagine this is the skin of the customer. The customer will start to bleed, and it will just heal like dots and like interrupted lines. Compare with here when you just have three crispy lines and they have pretty much the same depth. Now I'm gonna show you a trick how you're gonna be able to draw the other eyebrow, which is a major problem for several therapists. How would I do my life easier? I'll go into the back of the customer, so that means I'm flipping the page. And I'm gonna start, if here I came up way, then I'm gonna start from down way. I'm still respecting the same areas. I'm building my transition, and you see I'm kind of rotating myself. Basically I'm not rotating right now, but if I would have my customer, I would just rotate around my customer. And now I'm building my bridge, and I come back and I build my tail. And then I come back in the transition cover up and I add more strokes to make it more even and more natural. So basically I will probably always use the same trick, because it's much easier to achieve this very first beginning in a nice and smooth way, and to make them look similar. So now I'm wiping. And then I could always come back and add strokes in between wherever I feel that I do need more strokes. Again, practice makes it perfect, and you're gonna see that all our latex come both sides. So you're gonna have plenty of space to practice. So let's say if you are lacking on the beginning or the eyebrow or the tail, we're gonna have the same thing that we've seen in the paper earlier. So we're gonna have the begin, which is like double side, and then we're gonna have the transition is double side, and then we're gonna have the tail. Okay, so thank you guys for watching. This was the live demo how to place the hair strokes pattern in a correct way, and I'll see you for the next lesson. And then basically I'm gonna come back at the first word that I had prior, that I've done it with the first step. So what I'm actually doing right now, I want to show the difference between using the first step and the second step. So there are gonna be people, they're gonna be like, why would I use 2 steps? I can use the same blade from the beginning and save in 1 blade. And I'm gonna show you a difference between the strokes. So this is gonna be 1 stroke done with the step number 1. This is gonna be a stroke done with step number 2, hard blade. Bear in mind that I'm using the same pressure right now in all of them. And this is gonna be a stroke done with curved blade, size 14, step number 2. Can you actually do the entire procedure with the step number 2? You can, but the strokes won't look that crispy and they won't look like natural like using the step number 1. If you look at the surface, probably they look same and you won't see the difference. But if I look at the really depth, you're gonna see that the first stroke, it has a very nice crispy and smooth surface compared with the second one that is so deep, and compared with the third one that it's actually very deep too and doesn't create that smooth effect. So when it's gonna heal, you're gonna see that it's gonna be a difference between the strokes done with the first tool and the strokes done with the second tool. That's why we always want to use the first step for the initial strokes, and we actually want to use the second step just to deposit pigment basically. So then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna fill in. You have to make sure that when you come back in the same strokes. So you kind of blocked in the same lines. So what do you want to achieve with the second step? You basically just want to deposit more color. You don't really want to do new lines with step number 2 because they're gonna be a way too thick compared with the other strokes. So you kind of want to use it only for the fill-in. So I come back on the same strokes. In the latex actually it's much more difficult than it's in real skin, because in the real skin you're gonna see that you're gonna be able to stretch the skin and you're gonna be able to see a way easier to come back in the same strokes. Then you're gonna be able to see the difference between the strokes, that the one that they are filling with the color and the one that they are not, because they are more obvious that they already have color packed. So when they will heal a way thinner and a way shorter. There is also the blade U shaped. It's U-shaped flexible size 18, 0.80 millimeters that I haven't talked yet about it. This is how it looks like. The same way you open it. And I'm gonna use the other head of the double holder. It's not my cup of tea, but I have to present you because you're gonna see many artists using it and you're gonna wonder why. I personally don't find it easy to use, especially for newbies, and I find I can never achieve the same crispy strokes with the U blade rather than the other one. But basically the system of using the method is exactly the same one. So you do the first step with the first step, and the second step when you fill in, you could actually fill in with the U blade. So basically this is the movement. But as you can see, the lines are not that crispy like the other ones. That's why I'm telling you, it's not my cup of tea. Let's wipe it to see the difference. You could see that the lines are not that crispy and they kind of doubled, and the patch is not really regular. But I mean, some people find it as a great tool, so it's up to you to kind of find your own style and to kind of decide which blade is either for you or is not. You could also try different sizes, but as I said, this size was the best that I could ever try it, so it's what I would advise you to use. Okay guys, so right now I'm gonna do a live demo how to actually do the hair strokes into the latex. Please pay attention because I'm gonna show you exactly how you should hold the tool in the right way, and I'm gonna show you how to actually twist it in order to make the crispy strokes, and then I will show you the common mistakes as well. I'm gonna use a dark pigment color. It's gonna be brown 5 because I want everybody to see very well. So I'm gonna start with the tool number 1. I'm gonna take away the lids. It's always very wise to kind of check your blade to make sure that due to the transport sometimes for any different blades they could be like bended, or maybe I could bend it from mistake because they are like very soft, and even do they have a lid when you're opening, you just want to make sure that they are perfect aligned in a line in order to be able to do a crispy, nice, thin stroke. So you always kind of need to look very close. If you do have any like eye issues, just try to loop it to make sure that the blade is right. You're gonna always hear the sound. Okay, don't get scared and don't get freaked out. You're not doing anything wrong, it's normal. So basically, if you look at this blade, you're gonna see that there are 14 pins in a line. So basically, when you hear that sound, they are basically the pins touching each other. So you're not slicing the skin or anything like. It's a common feeling that people will think that they're doing something wrong when they hear that sound. And then you want to mix your pigment prior you go to your customer. And somebody asked me earlier, how much pigment do you actually need for a customer? You're good with this, right? So basically what you're gonna do, I'm not gonna need that much pigment for the latex demo, so I'm not gonna waste that much pigment. So how are you gonna put it in your color cup? Like that, okay? So that pretty much is going to be more than enough for you to do a model. You don't want to have a color cup when you're practicing because it's going to be kind of hard to dig in and dig out. So you just want to use the back of your first step. Is going to be much easier. Could you see how much pigment I do have on my blade?
Yeah, minimal.
Barely, right? I don't want to use pigment that much because I don't want to dirty the area, right? So I basically want to use as less as possible pigment because I want to be efficient and I want to see my hair strokes. And have a look. Can you see the movement of my hand? Everything is happening over here. All the twist, okay? So I'm gonna do an eyebrow by respecting the areas that we learned yesterday. I'm doing the beginning. I start to bend myself while I go to the transition. Can you hear the sound? If you don't hear the sound, you're doing something wrong. You're either too deep or you're either too light. So I'm basically done with my transition, which it was part number 2. I'm building my bridge, then I'm building a tail. I'm very careful to not touch the strokes in between because in the moment that you're gonna touch the strokes in between, you're gonna damage the skin. So you're gonna kind of heal dots and the strokes will be uncontinuous whenever they're gonna heal. So make sure that you work close enough, but like we mentioned yesterday, we need to hold at least 0.2 millimeters between the strokes. Look at the consistency of my movement. My hand is always on the table, okay? You're gonna see that we're gonna use the small finger in order to stretch the skin, okay? So make sure that you never work in the air because then you're not gonna be able to control your depth and your hand will be shaky. So the best is gonna be for you to have the hand on the table. When I feel that I do have too much pigment on my blade, I either wipe my blade or I just kind of drop a little bit back to the color cup because I don't want to work dirty. And I'm gonna show you what happens when you work dirty. You kind of see how clean I worked over here. So I'm gonna show you soon how it looks when you're basically wiping after the first step. Look, this is something very common that you'll see, that people will use a lot of pigment because they will think, ah, it's better to use more, right? If I'm gonna twist my hand, I should be able to do half of the circle with the same movement. So it's the same movement. Bear in mind that you need to twist from the very beginning. So do not do this and this, okay? And make sure that your blade is at 90 degrees, starting with the highest point of the blade. And you never actually use the entire blade, right? And if you do not hold the blade, this is a 90 degrees cut, and this is a bend cut. And I'm gonna wipe in a second and I'm gonna show you the difference. I want to start with the mistakes to show you, and then I'm gonna show you how it should look like. If you look over here at the depth, can you see the first stroke that is nice and crispy? This is how it's gonna heal. Can you see the second one is blurry and patchy? This is how it's gonna heal. So the secret to achieve crispy thin strokes is to hold the blade at 90 degrees and to not insert the whole pins. And over here, let's watch the pressure over the entire eyebrow. So whatever we saw in the video earlier, this is how your eyebrow it should look after the first step. You're not gonna be able to achieve this consistency and to see all the strokes nice and crispy from the very beginning, but that's your target. When you're gonna be able to achieve the same pressure everywhere to be even, you will barely need a touch-up, okay? And now let me show you how would I do the second one. I showed you yesterday the trick that I will want to rotate myself in order to be able to achieve the symmetry for the very beginning. So then I'm gonna show you how would I do the second eyebrow. Just imagine this is the head of the customer, right? I'll just turn around the latex because it's much easier for me, but then kind of figure out how would you turn around with your chair around the customer. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
I'm wiping the blade whenever I feel that is necessary to wipe. Attention, in the first step, you are not allowed to wipe because then you're gonna wipe the entire box. So whenever you're not sure about a stroke, move on, leave a space over there, and you're gonna be able to come back and to fill in between on the second step. If here, I already showed you that I'm going basically this way. At the very beginning, I'm gonna show you how here I'm going this way, to make it easier. It's not mandatory, you could try which way you want, but I've tried all the ways possible. So in order, like the biggest struggle after shaping probably for me, it was to make this beginning over here. I could never figure it, and I was trying all the ways possible. I was going in the top of the customer. So when I found this pattern, this way, it was like heaven for me. And then I just basically go the other way, just for the very beginning, to kind of make sure that I can achieve it in a nice, smooth way. I mean, you're free to try any way possible, but I couldn't find an easier way to do the other eyebrow. Now, there are some people that they are left side as well, so they can do one with one eyebrow, one for one eyebrow, one for eyebrow. They're like blessed and they have that talent. I've tried even to train my left. I was so desperate to make this happen, to be the same like the other one, that I even trained to work with my left hand side. So if I really want to do an eyebrow with my left hand side, I could really do that. So I'm going towards my transition. Did anyone notice that I rotated my latex? So basically I rotated my chair to my customer. And don't worry if it doesn't look the same like the other one, because the hair in one eyebrow looks the same, it doesn't look the same like in the other eyebrow. So basically what you try here to do, you try to fill out her own eyebrow, following the hair strokes patterns that they are already existing over there. I'm building the bridge, and I rotate myself. I build a tail. Too much pigment. And then I do the transition cover up both ways. And then I can just come back and add some strokes wherever I want. And now before I wipe, actually I want to show you the mistake, what happens when you cut two eyebrows. Two strokes. Stroke number 1 and stroke number 2. They will look nice. I'm not saying they don't look nice, but let me tell you what happens in the real life under the skin. I can wipe this one as well. One more time, do not use wet tissues on your customers. They're strictly for the latex because they might have fragrance or they might have some preservatives, and many of your customers could be allergic to that actually. Back to the cut stroke. Can you see the point where actually they meet each other? That's a damage for the skin. You're breaking the skin over there, and when it's gonna heal, you're gonna heal nothing but a dot over there, a dot of color. The strokes basically will kind of fade away, and you're gonna end up having very patchy result. Also, if you do work too close, one stroke to the other one, let's say you're doing that thing like kind of doing strokes wherever actually knowing what you're doing, one in the top of the other one. Watch this. Basically, if I was going a little bit closer to each other, those strokes will go together and you'll end up to have a very thick stroke. It's gonna look like a sausage. It's gonna just be a deposit of color that is gonna be very irregular, and it's not gonna look like a hair stroke. So you definitely don't want to do this. Better leave more space between your strokes, and you could always come back at the touch up and add more strokes. Better make them look like a grind rather than add too much, because too much, it's harder to fix rather than too less.
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Do you guys have any questions over here? Perfect. I'm gonna start with a consultation, and I'm gonna ask my customer what she wants to achieve with microblading procedure. So could you please tell us what would you like to get with microblading today?
I would like to get the arch filled in more and make them look more full with the tattoo.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And now let's kind of do a little bit exercise. What's her Fitzpatrick undertone and what color would we use on her?
Patrick number 2.
Yep.
Do you get 10 easy?
Yeah.
She looks beautiful with pink lipstick, but I think she will be beautiful with brown lipstick too, or red lipstick.
Cool.
What do you think?
So she's in neutral.
She could go with neutral.
Neutral? Neutral.
She could really go with neutral, yes. And she has a beautiful smile. What color would you like to have them? Natural?
Yeah, like the color they are now.
Maybe a little bit darker than that?
Yeah.
A tone darker maybe. So you could actually define them maybe towards the arch. So how about that?
Okay, yeah.
Sounds good? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna clean her eyebrows with alcohol pads. And basically right now I'm just looking at her eyebrows and I try to figure out why is she here today. And I can see that she has some gaps over here in the arch as she mentioned, and I can see that this eyebrow is almost perfect, but still she has some gaps, and here she has a little bit effect of the chroma. And over here we will basically need to build this arch to be nice and smooth as the other side. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start the drawing process. Could you please close your eyes? Could you open your eyes? Could you close? Could you open? If you guys look carefully, you're gonna see that into her right hand side, she's lifting up more the arch. So I'm gonna actually want to do the shape while she have the eyes either closed or either open, because I want to make sure that she's gonna have a good symmetry. So I could see that she's using more the muscles toward the right side, so the entire eyebrow basically is slightly higher. On her case, however, I would not even bother to correct that because her eyebrows are almost perfect. So that's actually not our focus here. We don't create perfection, we just improve the situation and we fill out the gaps in this situation because they are so beautiful, natural. It's not even worth to kind of correct that balance. Make sense? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get the center of the nose marked. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna check what's the size of her half of the nose. So basically it's 25%. So her eyebrows just begin in the right point. She doesn't really need to have too many strokes in the beginning. Same on the other side. Maybe she have a small hole over here. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get my ruler. I'm gonna place the point number 0 on the main line. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start the drawing process. Pay attention of my stretch while I'm drawing. You see, my big finger is going down way and my other finger goes up way. So I just want to go ahead and I get a very straight line over there. If you're not stretching the skin, I showed you the previous days, you're gonna make a line like this, rather than when you stretch, you're gonna have a very thin, crispy line. So, are you happy with your thickness?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very happy with her thickness. I will not actually want to improve that. I'll basically just draw very close to her hair growing. So basically, if you could see over here that she has some gaps, so I make sure that I included them on my box. So when I'm actually working on her, I'm gonna be able to see my template. I am done with this side, so I'm gonna go ahead to the other side and I'm gonna try to shape it symmetrical. On this side, I like to begin from the arch, like I show you in the drawing. Again, please pay attention to the details because this is the most important step from the entire procedure. Again, good over here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna build the arch. I'm looking between the both of eyebrows to make sure that they are symmetrical. I'm gonna look at the length now. If here it's finishing in point like 7.3, I'm gonna want the other side to finish like 7.34, so I'm good with the length. And I'm gonna go ahead basically and I'm gonna just build the strokes wherever I feel that I will actually really do strokes. I think I'm happy enough with the shape, so I'm gonna ask my customer if she's happy enough. Customers usually when they look in the mirror right now, they're gonna get scared because they're gonna think this is too thick. So bear in mind that you need to explain your customers that once the procedure is over, you basically not gonna see the box. So what I'm gonna do, you see over here the hair strokes that I've done. So I'm gonna fill in over here, and wherever I saw some gaps over there. So they're not gonna be thicker than what you actually have. So this is exactly the size that you have if I'm gonna box it right now.
I think it looks really good.
Are you happy with the shape? That's all you want
Very
to
good.
hear, and you could go ahead and start the procedure. You don't really want to have them look too long because they might change their mind, and then it might take a while to really educate your customer what would actually fit them. So you could just lie down and make yourself comfortable, please. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna twist the hair outside the shape, and I'm gonna trim it a bit. Normally, I'm used to not trim them because she has such beautiful eyebrows, and I'm gonna want to have her eyebrows not touch. But if you don't feel comfortable and you feel intimidated that she has too much hair, you could go ahead and slightly trim it, and it's okay because it's gonna grow back in like maximum 5 days to 7 days. But I'm not gonna do that today. Could you come closer to me, please? Thank you. And you could just close your eyes and relax. This is step number 1, numbing. You want to put a generous quantity of the numbing. And you're gonna want to leave it for 30 to 35 minutes. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna let it just for 5-10 minutes, and then we're gonna go ahead and start. On the meantime, I can play with the colors to see what I'm gonna use on my customer. I will actually use 2 mixed with 3 on her, and then on the shading I'm gonna do it with 3 in the zone number 1, and then I'm gonna use 2 in the undersides. This is gonna be step number 2 of topical anesthetic. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna prepare my pigment. And maybe I will use brown 5 for some very specific points later. I will have it there. So brown 2 and brown 3. So this quantity will be more than enough for me to do the procedure. And now I'm gonna try the pigment on her skin. Bear in mind again that it will fade 30 to 40% after the healing process. And I think I'm very happy with the color. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna wipe that. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna remove the anesthetic. How do you want to remove the anesthetic without actually ruining your shape? You just use the back of the sticks without actually wiping it. Then you kind of just pat dry it with cotton pads. And here we are, our customer is numbed and the shape is still there because it's waterproof, but you just don't want to rub it. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna change my gloves because they're full of anesthetic and they're like slippery. And I'm gonna start the procedure with step number 1. I open it in front of the customers. You remove the lid. You're checking your blade to make sure that all the needles are in the right place. And before you start the procedure, you have to tell your customer that it's very important to not move. If she feel any discomfort or if she want me to stop, you could tell me to stop nicely, because if you move, obviously I'm not gonna be very precise, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start. Barely any pigment on my blade. You see where is my small finger? It's on her eyelid, right? I'm not pressing on her eyeball, but I'm stretching the skin because I want to do crispy thin strokes. You okay?
Yeah.
I start with the beginning of the eyebrow. It's a little bit discomfort. In 30 seconds you're not gonna feel anything anymore. I'm going towards the transition. Our customer have the best skin type that you could possibly ever meet. So she's not bleeding. I build my transition. I go towards the bridge and I build my bridge. And then I come back and I kind of finish my tail and I build the arch. And now I do come back in the transition cover up. Sorry about the lipstick. And then I fill in. Okay. I'm done with this eyebrow at this point, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna move to the next eyebrow. So as I mentioned prior, I'm moving on the second eyebrow in the very first beginning. I should move with my chair, but due to the table I can't, so I will just sit up. Okay. I'm building my transition. Pay attention on my stretching. I'm building my bridge. And the arch. And then I come back in the transition cover up both ways. And I'm pretty much done at this point. I do apply the mask of the color. I massage it and I leave it on for 3 to 5 minutes.
What number is that color?
Same
Oh,
color.
the same color.
Few minutes. So that's how you look today, right now. Would you tip me?
Cool.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna remove it. I'm gonna start with the first eyebrow. You should guys be able to see the strokes very clear.
So you're using the dry bags
No, they are wet.
or wet? Okay.
Is that just water?
Yep. I try to show how soft they are. Okay. So this is how it should look like after the first step. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna remove the pigment in the other eyebrow. Over here you should be able to see the strokes as well. Tiny and soft. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna numb her now with a topical anesthetic. Don't open your eyes now, please. This one you should leave it about same between 3 and 5 minutes, but here you're gonna have a very big clue when the skin is started to numb, because it's gonna get white yellow around the eyebrow, so then you're gonna know that she's numbed and she's good to go. It's literally the strongest anesthetic that it could possibly exist, and it's legal. She should be pretty numb in 3 to 5 minutes. You're gonna see that the pain level, it varies from customer to customer. Some of them, they are more sensitive. You can't really numb them. If they have their period, you can't really numb them, or if they have any medical issues or under some sort of medication, then you can't really numb them.
What is the difference anesthetic?
You look at the lidocaine percentage or epinephrine. So legally it needs to be under 5. This one, it's exactly under the limit. So you need to look to have lidocaine or epinephrine, but it's kind of, those ingredients work different from customer to customer, and you just want to make sure that your product is fresh and it's not expired. But it's different, the quality from a brand to the other brand.
It's not prescription.
Unless you do have a license, you cannot use it. So this is the
the
highest
counter.
concentration that you could use it. Yeah.
So it's over the counter.
Yeah. You see already here the skin started to be white. I'm gonna still give it like 2 more minutes. just to make sure. In this time, I'm gonna prepare the tool number 2. I'm gonna open it in front of her. I'm opening tool number 2. I'm gonna show again how we are assembling the tool number 2. The tool, the blade, 90 degrees angle. Bend it at 45 and twist inside till you feel that the blade doesn't move anymore.
So what number is that again?
14
14.
hard.
Thank you.
Thank you. When I'm removing the anesthetic, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna remove it just in the eyebrow that I intend to work, because in the other side it could still work and she's gonna be more numb than that. So I'm gonna just start with her left hand side. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stretch, and I'm gonna want to fill in the strokes that I've done in the previous step. You okay?
Yeah. I can't feel it at all.
Hmm?
I can't feel it at all.
You can't feel it all?
Nope.
You hear that?
Oh, yeah.
That's why I don't use the 35 minutes one, because I use this one. So I'm stretching the skin and I'm coming back on the same strokes that I previously done in the first step. And I'm depositing more color. More you're stretching the skin, more color deposit you're gonna have. I wipe. So see, the strokes start to become more visible at this point because they start to be filled up with color. So when you want to add new strokes, you always want to come back to the tool number 1, add new strokes, and then you come back to the tool number 2 to fill in. I think she's falling asleep. Which is cool. You really want to have your customer relaxed in order to be able to deliver a good result.
many times you need to do?
3 to 7 times. 3 to 7 times depends of the skin type. She have a pretty good skin type, so I can see that basically after like 3 fill-in, the strokes are pretty solid. I kind of like the strokes, but I still want to go one more time in the tail. Now you should be able to see the difference between the first one, where the strokes are filling with color, and the second one, where the strokes are after the first step. Make sure that you come back on the same stroke. I'm about to be pretty much done, so I will want my customer to sit up to check the symmetry again. There is still a gap over here. Could you please sit up again? Look at me. There is only one hole that I want to fill still in the beginning and a little bit on the tail, and I'm almost done. I'm pretty much done at this point. I will apply the final mask of the color. It should be itchy and burning, slightly uncomfortable feeling. Sorry. It's gonna be very, very little because then I'm gonna numb you again. So basically I'm done with those steps at this point, unless I really see a stroke at the very end that I really want to add. So I'm gonna let her for a few minutes. In the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna prepare my area for the shading. So I do have my color ready, and I'm gonna use size 21, and I'm gonna open it in front of you. It's new, never used before. I should not wake her up. This is how it looks like. All the pins look fine to me. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna wipe her. It will be a little bit uncomfortable. I'm gonna get the rest of my topical anesthetic and I'm gonna numb her. You're gonna see that now the skin, it will get right away white because the skin it's already open, so the anesthetic basically start to work right away. So 3 minutes and she will be really numbed. So basically this is how she should look immediately after, how your customer looks immediately after microblading. And it's gonna be even more beautiful in 10 minutes.
Nice.
I'm not gonna do that much of a shading for her. I will just do it basically in the arch and kind of define really her highest point. So I'm gonna go ahead. You okay?
Mm.
So I'm gonna tap it. And scrape it. Scrape it. And I want to do that in area number 1, right? I'm gonna wipe. And then I just want to blend it with the other areas. But I'm pretty much done with shading in this eyebrow. Now you should basically be able to see the difference between both eyebrows. In the sense that this one is more full. And then I blend the areas. Almost done. Could you sit up for me for a second, please?
That is 2 and 3. You mix the 2 and 3, right?
For the shading, I use only 3 because I use it only in the arch.
Oh, okay.
But for the strokes, yes, it's 2 and 3. And I'm done. I'm gonna apply the color, the final mask, and I'm gonna leave it for 3 to 5 minutes. And that's it. It should burn you right now, I'm so sorry. Sorry. You could see the strokes with the soft shading effect. Can you guys see it? Even though you already told your customer they're gonna be 30 to 40% thinner and lighter, you still kind of want to repeat her before she see herself in the mirror, because they are a little bit dark right now. This is not gonna be how they're gonna be when it's gonna heal. So, are you ready? Are you sure?
That looked really good.
They're gonna get lighter and thinner, so don't get scared.
I think they look really good.
You like it? It will take about 2 weeks to get lighter and to get thinner, so it's a process. You still need to stay around for about 20 minutes because we need to apply the barrier cream. But we need first to wait a bit with your skin to calm down, and then I'm gonna give you the aftercare instructions. Sounds good?
Yes.
Perfect. This is the most important part after the treatment, guys. You have to understand that 80% of the final result is related with how good care she's gonna have home. So basically, those are instructions that what I'm gonna start to tell you right now, you're gonna have them written over here in case that you do not remember. It's very important to have them for a very good result. They're gonna fade away 40 to 60%, so do not get scared, and they're gonna get way thinner. You're gonna love them in about 2 weeks. So this is the aftercare serum. 24 hours, you do not touch them. After 24 hours, you wash them 2 times a day, morning and night with baby soap, and then apply a tiny amount of this serum. Don't go to sauna, steaming room, anything that make you sweat for the next 5 days. Don't sleep with a head in the pillow for the next 1 week because you might rub them. Do not expose yourself to the sun for the next 1 month till they are completely healed, and make sure that if it is sunny outside, you could wear sunglasses at least for 1 week in the healing process because you risk to burn your skin. And make sure that you don't rub them, you don't peel them off, no dirty hands on them, and be careful with your makeup. Whenever you apply your powder on your face, make sure that you don't touch your eyebrows. So basically the most important thing is to not get them infected or to get the bacteria over there. If you get an infection, please see a physician. It's very unlikely that you will get if you respect all this aftercare. You should get a touch-up between 4 and 8 weeks. Okay, this is your aftercare, and just bear with me for a second. I need to apply your barrier cream. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna wipe it. And I'm gonna apply a tiny amount of the special barrier cream. Don't apply too much because then she's gonna scab. So you don't really want that. You want just to apply thin enough layer to protect her from the bacteria, but not to form a scab. So you kind of massage it for like 5 seconds to make sure that it goes inside the skin. And you're good to go. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's it.
I love them.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You did a great job.
Hi guys, I'm here with Ivy. She just got her eyebrows microblading using dual blade method, and she got also soft shading.
I love them so much. I'm so excited. I can't wait to show everyone.
How was your experience with your microblading?
I loved it. Everything went super smooth. I hardly had any pain. Everything was awesome.
Are you happy with the outcome?
Yes, I love it. It's so natural, and I can't wait to see it in 2 weeks. I'm actually going to tell my mom about you guys today.
And actually you mentioned earlier that you're considering a career in learning microblading right now.
I think it would be a great career opportunity for me, and I haven't really been exactly sure what I wanted to do because I've been good at makeup.
Did it work overall to get microblading?
Yeah, definitely. I buy an eyebrow pencil at least once a month, and so hopefully now I don't have to buy any more eyebrow pencils.
Hopefully not. Thank you so much for coming, and
Yeah,
I will see you
thank
for the
you.
touch-up. Thank you, guys.
I feel very confident after the training. So after I actually have 2 to 3 other clinics that I'm gonna be working and adding the new service.
I've learned so many things that I didn't realize were involved in the process, and I feel educated, well informed, equipped, prepared.
Feel pretty great. I had a really good time, really good instructions, so now I'm going to go back to where I work. I'll probably practice for about another month or so and then start offering it to my clients.
I feel really good about it now. I felt like it was a really good training and very informative, and I learned a lot, and I am ready to start working.
Irina was perfect. She's intelligent. She stays on point. She doesn't tell a lot of stories. She only tells you what is applicable at the time. Doesn't jump around from topic to topic. It stays right on the topic at hand.
I've actually researched her, like different instructor, to make sure that I'll be trained with the best. So she's definitely great, and I learned a lot from her. And I like the fact that she's very dead on.
She was great. Answered all my questions very well. She's really good. She's really good at brows. So
She was amazing. She was very patient, very detailed. She made us feel at ease and comfortable asking any questions. She was always there to help right away.
I like the fact that the hands-on, and at first it was all weird about the homework, but it actually made us more confident during the day 3 where we actually work on live model.
I'd have to just say Irina. She's a good teacher. You can't take that for granted. A person may be talented or knowledgeable, but that doesn't mean they're a good teacher. And Irina is. She knows how to make her point, break it down so that you can understand it and apply it rather quickly. That's the impressive part.
I liked how we got to work on latex and then we moved to actual models. So getting the hands-on experience on actual models was really important because I could see myself getting better with each one that I did. So
I liked the model part because a lot of the classes that I had looked into, a lot of them didn't let you work on live models, but this one did.
I liked that it was a longer course than a lot of the ones that I looked for, especially around here. I did a lot of research before I signed up for a class, and a lot of them are shorter than this one. And I also liked that the class was smaller, so we all get a lot of attention and support from the instructor.
I would definitely recommend it, but aside from because they've seen my work, and the reason why I took this class is I've seen her students work and being like so awesome. So I was like, oh my God, if she can teach the student how to do it the first time, second time, third model, I'm sure she'll be like really good at everything.
Most definitely. I got my money's worth. It was a pleasant experience. Irina leads you, and with an energy that you need, because it's a challenging course. This is not a simple thing at all. It's a talent, it's an art, it has to be a person that cares. And so Irina sees to it that she can give you that strength to push through it and succeed.
I would recommend this class to anybody trying microblading because you get really good instruction, you learn pretty much the best technique for microblading, and you get the hands-on experience, which is the most important thing when you're in this industry.
I would recommend this class. I would recommend it because you do get to do the hands-on part, but also the stuff that they teach you. And I feel like the technique that they use is what more people are looking for.
Absolutely, because I feel like, because like I said, the class is smaller, not so many students, you just get all of the information that you need and you leave the class knowing exactly what you're doing and ready to start working on clients.
I know this was a lot of content to cover, and I hope that you guys are still here and you're still breathing. I'm gonna let you little bit more break, and I'm gonna go ahead now and I'm gonna explain you the difference between the programs. I know it was a lot of the content, but I will make sure that we're gonna give you guys the recordings so you're gonna be able to process the information and to remember a lot of those stuffs, because I know that it's a lot and most of them they will be forgotten. So basically in a 5-day class, as you saw earlier, you're gonna learn everything about microblading procedure. You're gonna learn about the soft shading and ombre, which is a great add-on. You could make at least $200 extra per procedure, because there are not many people that they provide microblading with shading. And to be honest with you, if you already read my book and you know how I scale my income and how I made a difference between me and the other people that they were performing microblading in my area, it was the fact that I was giving them something that the other practitioners didn't. So 9 customers out of 10, they will pay you the add-on, and you will see that the shading, it makes the eyebrows look a way more natural, and by blending the shading with the strokes, it makes it look more realistic. So most of the customers love that. And also about the cellulite removal, the benefits of the cellulite removal, number 1 is that you could remove the spots, the mistakes on the spot, or you could correct or fail tattoos. Sometimes you're gonna see that you are able to correct all tattoos by just performing a correction either to the shape or to the color, but sometimes that's not possible. So it's gonna be needed to do a saline removal procedure prior you're actually doing microblading. So you're learning everything about those things in a 5-day class. Also, the 5-day class comes with a satisfaction guarantee, means that if you don't feel confident, we're gonna teach you again free of charge. Yes, you heard me right, it's free of charge, because we want you guys to be successful. We want to set you for success. So some people learn in a different phase. Some people are like faster, some people are slower, but we're gonna make sure that you guys gonna have as much hands-on as you need in order to be able to get customers right next day after you finishing your class. And the reason why I'm saying that is because most of you will think and will come to the class and you'll think that it's difficult and you're gonna just try to quit from the beginning thinking that you can't do that. When you come on a 5-day class, you're getting to practice in 4 live models, full models. So it's not like a typical training that 3 people are working a model and you do 3 strokes and I do 2 strokes and maybe you do half of eyebrow and that's it, you call the day. No, here you're practicing 4 live models. Each individual student is carefully supervised by the trainer. So the trainers are, including I, we literally hold the hand over there because we want to make sure that you guys get it. But just hypothetically speaking that you are not getting it, you could come back within a year and take any additional trainings free of charge, because we want to make sure that you guys gonna have the enough practice and enough confidence to go ahead and build your career and get customers right away. In the 5-day class also come with lifetime certification, so you don't need to be worried about your certification expiring. So you're having lifetime certification, and also you're getting the lifetime support. So you're getting added to our amazing community where if in case that you have any questions about colors or anything, you literally gonna get help from our thousands and thousands of members that they are pretty much there almost in real time together with our trainer team. So we're gonna be able to help you guys and to support your towards journey. And again, I mean 4 live models. I've never heard any other training to offer you hands-on 4 live models supervised by the trainer. Now, the 3-day class comes with all the basics you need. Obviously, you could realize that even the classes are like 10 to 12 hours a day. We're not going to be able to cover that much material in a 3-day class. That's why I will always advise you to go for a 5-day class, because it's the most comprehensive training in the entire beauty industry. It's like over 70 hours of full content, hands-on, in the same room with a trainer that have dozens of experience, and you get to learn the best from the industry. again, the 3-day class, it's a good start. You're gonna still get to practice in 2 live models compared with a 5-day class, but you're not gonna learn the additional techniques like soft shading, blend with the strokes, and the saline removal. And of course, the hands-on experience, you can't compare it with a 5-day class where you get to practice more and actually build the confidence, because I'm telling you, the first model, you're gonna get out and you're gonna have tears on your eyes. The second one is gonna get better, but by having the third and the fourth, after the 4 model, 80% of our students, they are just ready to go and kill it. So again, it's what you pay is what you get at the end of the day. And again, if you have the choice to get a full intensive training, you should absolutely do that. But again, the 3-day class, it's a great opportunity. Most of the trainings in the beauty industry, in the microblading, they have 1 or 2 day classes. So you understand, most of the people learn either in 1 day or 2 day. So 3 days is still a very compressive training program. It's just not the 5-day, which is like the best, and I would really advise you to do that. Now I got the training, the question as well. I can't travel, can I actually learn online? And I'm gonna make a full webinar about online training and explain you if you can legit learn microblading in the online training or not. Yes, you're gonna get certified. However, there is a process. If you think that you're gonna just get online training and you're gonna get the kits shipped by your door and we're gonna certify you right away, that's not gonna happen, because we want you guys to be successful and know what you're doing before we actually handing you a certificate on your hand. So the online training, what's gonna happen in the online training? Basically, you're signing up and you're getting the recordings from a full 5-day class, 3-day or 5-day. We have 2 levels, right? We have the basics and we have the intensives. So you're getting to see like exactly the same theory module that people are having when they come into a class. However, there is the difference between practicing in live models and not practicing. You're gonna work with a dedicated licensed instructor step by step, and you're gonna have milestones and you're gonna have homework that you need to submit in order to pass the next level. You're not gonna be able to pass the next level just for the simple fact that you're not gonna understand anything unless you're actually going towards the steps, step by step, with your dedicated instructor. So you're gonna have homework, you're gonna send it to review, we're gonna approve the homework, and then you're gonna have new projects to complete in order to get certified. Now, you're not gonna get certified unless you're practicing in live models supervised by your trainer and under your trainer guidance. So whenever you feel that you're ready to get certified, we're gonna announce you, or if we feel that you need to practice more on certain levels, like let's say the eyebrow shaping or strokes or more latest practice or more models practice, that's why you are working one-to-one with your instructor till we feel that you're good to go. So can you get certified and get customers and that legit certification? Yes, it is. But if you have the opportunity to travel or come, we are in 18 major cities in the United States. So you have the opportunity to join a 5-day live event. Nothing can replace the hands-on practice when our instructors and we hold your hand, guys, and we make sure that you are not failing, and we guide you. It's one to correct a mistake and a bad habit, that it's right spotted on the whenever it's happening, rather than something that you're developing over time and then we have to come and correct it. And I mean, again, it's nothing would replace the support and the hands-on experience that you have during the live events. Can you be very successful by taking an online training? Absolutely. We had students that we actually certified in 6 days and their work was outstanding. I'm gonna say right now there's work, and I actually wrote a blog about it, and I'm gonna post the link in the description so you could read more about her. She basically enrolled and did all the milestones in 6 days, and she got certified. We got shocked when she did 3 live models in 1 day, and she sent her pictures to the approval. I'm gonna post the pictures right now. Her work was outstanding. We just couldn't believe it. Like, I even wrote a blog about it. So is it achievable? Yes, but at the end of the day, it's all about you and how much work you want to put on. And depends of like if you're more a hands-on person, or if you're like more like you're processing better if you're seeing someone, or very visual person. So it's about you to make the difference between the classes and figure out which one is actually a right fit for you. So there are certain ways that you could get certified. Then we have also the private training option. So we do have private trainings in 18 major cities. So you want to make sure that if you're interested in getting a private training, which will limit the private training, they're like very exclusive. So our trainers will work one-to-one with you, with host private trainings weekly in different cities in United States. So if you're interested in a private training, please click the link down below and submit the form, and one of our admissions coordinator will get in touch with you and figure out which city you are on, and we see if the private training is a right fit for you. Private training, it consists in a 3-day training. So basically our licensed instructor will go one-to-one with you. There are maximum 2 people in the group. So the amount of hands-on that you're getting and experience compressed in a 3-day class, it's unbelievable. I love private trainings, and I think that that feeling that you have one-to-one with your instructor and get all the attention and get them literally hold your hand and lift you to success, like it's worth every single penny. And I've trained one-to-one some of the most successful microblading practitioners in the United States, that they went and they built their own academies over there. And again, it comes with a satisfaction guarantee. So if you don't feel confident, you could come back again and get the same training for free. And you're gonna get the same thing. You're gonna get the same certification. You're gonna get the same lifetime support and help from us. So wherever training program makes more sense for you, or if you have any question about it, please go ahead and submit your questions, and I'm gonna answer all the questions that you guys have in the next webinar. I mean, we are in so many cities and there are so many options on getting trained those days. If you're really interested in becoming a microblading certified practitioner, but you still have questions, just make sure that you're sending an email to support@warmicroblading, and we're gonna be able to help you and work with you one-to-one to see what option might be the right fit for you. If you cannot attend one of the workshops. I personally love workshops. I love 5-day class. I love 3-day class if the 5-day could not be done. I love online training just because of the fact that it could be done from anywhere in the world. It's comfortable. You get your free starter kit as well included. But in the same time, I love the private training because of the one-to-one attention that we can give to you guys. So whatever it's the way that you want to learn and get certified, I'm sure that we covered almost everything, but if I missed something, just let me know. And again, I'm here to help you guys and support you. So any questions, I'm here for you. I'll see you next week with the next webinar.